Chapter 4:21. Let's rewind time a bit. The Pope answered the call of the 7 holy apostles and returned to the Holy Cathedral. At this time, the fiend kind haven't started their attack. The Fushi Empire, the Holy Cathedral of the Empire. Verona's coronation ceremony was being solemnly held. The coronation of the Empress was a huge event for the entire human world. Verona will become the first Empress in the history of the Fushi Empire. Every country in the world sent out their own live broadcast teams, ready to use their cameras to record this historic day. At this time, on TV, every country's commentator was reminiscing about the Fushi Emperor. The cause of his death was covered up by Verona. To avoid causing panic and unrest, or to save the Fushi Empire's face, the Fushi Emperor was declared to have died fighting against the frozen hell. As the frost spread across the entire world, the frozen hell was no longer a secret. Driven by despair, every country in the world was rioting. The country's leaders had no choice but to use mechs and professionists to maintain order in their society that was on the verge of collapse. In the Fushi Empire, Verona Empress gave the military the right to act according to the situation. The military's execution process was greatly simplified. There were only 2 stages. The first stage, confirm the crime. The second stage, execute on the spot. Everywhere in the Fushi Empire, the criminals who robbed, killed, destroyed everything were wiped out. That's right, the frozen hell was about to descend. In the future, humanity will most likely die in this calamity. But if anyone dares to cause trouble, they'll be executed before the apocalypse. In just a few days, the Fushi Empire was littered with corpses. Such cruel methods naturally drew the ire of the people's opposition. Some of the pro-democracy groups were looking for international support, trying to put pressure on Empress Verona. But this time they miscalculated. Not a single country on the international scene condemned this. Not a single person stood up to criticize Verona. In the face of the apocalypse, any rational leader would seek the stability of their country. Those who tried to resist were secretly executed by Verona. Right after that, Verona started a war of propaganda, trying to appease society and its citizens. The TV stations broadcast the details of the frozen hell 24 hours a day. Under Gu Qingshan's suggestion, Verona even captured a few dead people and locked them in cages for the public to see. At first, the places were filled with people. But due to the game of Eternal's appearance and the murder clown's actions, humanity wasn't as scared as they thought it would be. After the novelty wore off, people found that it was no longer interesting. The reason why people are afraid of death is because death is something unknown. No one knows for sure what will happen after death. Will it disappear completely? Or will there be a place to go? Now, a living example was placed in front of him, proving that there was a place for people to go after they died. Death isn't too bad. Some people were discussing whether there was a place like heaven or kingdom of heaven. More and more people began to do good deeds, hoping to find a good place to return to after death. There were more and more people doing good deeds, and the social atmosphere had changed. Nowadays, any old lady would have to be carried in a princess's arms when crossing the road. They would even have to go through a few hands. Because of that, the Fushi Empire that was originally on the verge of collapse after the king's death, after going through the cleansing of blood and fire, slowly stabilized. World Fushi Empire's Saint World Empire was even better than before. Seeing that, the other countries all followed suit and quickly achieved good results. Verona's reputation skyrocketed, finally gaining the recognition of the majority of the world's forces and ascending to the Fushi throne. But something completely different from the past life happened. The frost on the ground continued to spread. Occasionally, some dead people would appear. The dead eat people. Everyone knows this. But because the dead are frozen underground when they appear, as long as they're discovered in time, there won't be too much of a problem. The armies of the various countries were busy collecting the dead and sending them into space. Humanity as a whole is becoming calmer and calmer. Everything seems to be changing for the better, until a strange person appeared in a frozen river in the Federation's territory. When this person was discovered, he had already broken through the ice. He killed a squad of 30 people on the spot. Everyone's blood was sucked dry. He became extremely powerful. Fortunately, a mysterious professionist intervened and killed it in one fell swoop, thus avoiding more casualties. Humanity's top brass received reliable information. There would be countless of such monsters appearing in the future. The leaders of the various countries agreed to head to the Fushi Empire for an emergency meeting on the day of Verona's coronation. At this point, the emperor's coronation ceremony, led by the Pope of the Holy Church, 12 clergymen escorted the future empress out of the church. The empress was going to the high platform at the back of the church. That platform was also known as the blessed land of the gods. It was the Holy Church's most sacred place. On the platform, the Pope was going to bestow the 12-pointed crown that symbolizes the throne to the empress. This meant that the emperor's throne was a gift from the heavens. Everyone in the church stood up one after another, following the empress and the Pope towards the platform. Gu Qingshan, Zhang Yongho, and Yi Feili were also among them. The three of them followed the flow of people while whispering to each other. "Why does it feel so strange?" Yi Feili said. "What do you mean?" Zhang Yongho asked. "There seems to be less people here," Yi Feili commented. "Of course," Zhang Yongho replied. "Why is that?" Yi Feili asked. Zhang Yongho spoke in a low voice. The Fushi Emperor had unparalleled martial prowess, capable of suppressing the powerful professionists of the country. But now that he's dead and the Empress isn't that strong, a lot of people aren't willing to accept her. "There's such a thing?" Yi Feili asked. "That's right. Quite a few powerful professionists with actual authority aren't here," Gu Qingshan followed up. "According to impartial goddess statistics, almost half of the powerful professionists with actual authority aren't here." Yi Feili asked. "Hell is about to descend, and they're still fighting. Aren't they annoyed?" Zhang Yongho answered. "Compared to uniting against a common enemy, those with authority are more interested in internal strife. And here I was thinking of following you to see the world, but it turns out to be like this," Yi Feili muttered. Gu Qingshan was also a bit annoyed. "The frozen hell is silently expanding. What I'm about to do next will require the full cooperation of the Fushi Empire. But Monarch Verona will probably need a very long time to subdue the entire empire. Time is of the essence. There's no time for the Empress to eliminate the dissidents and consolidate her authority." While he was thinking, Zhang Yongho came closer and said, "I heard that some people want to choose an adult male from a side branch of the royal family to inherit the throne." "That's true. The military and a few local forces are very vocal about this choice. Verona had to use every means possible to barely suppress those voices," Gu Qingshan answered. "They want a puppet emperor?" Yi Feili asked. "That's right. This is the best thing for them," Gu Qingshan answered. "Don't they care what happens to the country?" Yi Feili innocently asked. Gu Qingshan and Zhang Yongho exchanged glances but didn't say anything. Gu Qingshan stayed silent for a bit, then made a decision. At this point, the Empress had already stepped onto the platform. The guests were all standing below, waiting to witness the most important moment of the Emperor's coronation. The Bishop of the Holy Church raised the 12-horned, pure gold crown up high, about to place it on Verona's head. As long as they didn't have anything else to do, everyone turned on their hollow brain to watch this historic moment. At this point, the number of people watching the live broadcast worldwide had reached an all-time high. But at the scene of the Emperor's coronation, something very strange was happening. Occasionally, people would look down to check their hollow brain. More and more people were whispering to each other. An indescribable sense of unease was silently spreading. Including the president of the Federation, many dignitaries all turned on their hollow brains. As they listened to the news from their hollow brains, their expressions turned serious. The leaders who held great power began to issue orders. The president was also remotely commanding the country's armed forces. "This can't be right. Something big must have happened," Zhang Yongho muttered in a low voice. "Impartial goddess, what's the situation?" Gu Qingshan asked. "Something has happened in the deserts of the world. The relevant information is incomplete. There's no complete report yet," Impartial Goddess replied. Gu Qingshan was surprised. "Let me see what happened," he said. "Understood. Sir," a scene appeared on the hollow brain. The Freedom Federation's Masala Desert. A gigantic figure blocked out the sun's light, slowly moving through the desert. This figure was as tall as a skyscraper. A giant. The giant appeared. As it walked, every step it took caused the desert to tremble. Any sand that came into contact with its body turned ashen. Thick black chains wrapped around the giant's feet, occasionally letting out flames to burn the giant, burning it painfully. But the giant endured the pain and roared frowny face faster. Faster, it roared. Before the living know, we must build our city of the dead. Yes, hundreds, if not thousands of giant figures replied. The great desert city slowly began to take shape. The screen flashed. Gu Qingshan slapped her forehead and sighed deeply. What she feared had come true. There wasn't even a sliver of ice on the ground in the desert. The black chains that bound the giant's body also had nothing to do with the frozen hell. This clearly wasn't the frozen hell. The second hell had arrived in the human realm. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but look at the war god UI. A line of glowing text was displayed there. 11 hours left until Huang Quan reinforcement arrive. Damn it. I delayed the frozen hell's appearance. But the other hells have arrived ahead of time. Gu Qingshan asked, System, why didn't you tell me earlier? Ting. The war god UI replied. The system didn't know that the other hells would arrive. In fact, you were the one who discovered the frozen hell first. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and found that to be the case. But you can summon the Huang Quan reinforcements, Gu Qingshan asked. The war god UI continued to explain. I was only informing them. They were already searching for the hells that escaped Huang Quan. As Gu Qingshan was about to continue talking to the system, she suddenly stopped. On the platform, the ceremony was still ongoing. Verona Medici. The bishop had just recited the empress' name and was about to bless her. The sky suddenly darkened. Something happened. Everyone looked up. Something's not right. I can sense spatial distortion. Zhang Yongho spoke with a serious tone. Something seems to be coming. Look, Yi Feili also said. They all looked at a certain spot in the sky. The sun was hidden behind the dim wind. A black hole appeared in the sky. All of a sudden, a coffin appeared from the void of space. This coffin was extremely large, almost the same size as the entire cathedral. The coffin was made entirely out of black bones. Occasionally blood could be seen dripping down from the gaps between the bones. Bam! A loud sound like a cannonball exploding. The lid of the coffin was blown open. A monster was roaring, trying its best to crawl out. It was a jet-black corpse. Gu Qingshan released her inner sight to observe, only to find that the coffin was filled with sharp spikes. These spikes pierced through the monster's body, fixing it inside the coffin. That's why it was struggling to crawl out. The coffin and the spikes. This was an unprecedented hellish punishment, completely unrelated to the frozen hell. Gu Qingshan immediately had an answer. For a while, he stared at the sky without saying anything. Chapter 422. My God, what is that thing? Zhang Yongho was shocked. Gu Qingshan released his inner sight to carefully observe the monster, trying his best to remain calm. He knows that monster. It's a monster from before the age of giants and fiendkind, a type of monster from the age of chaos. Only this monster would have such a hideous body. It's much stronger than normal giants and fiendkind. Fortunately, the monster was locked inside the coffin. Its entire body was pierced through by sharp spikes and held in place. It looks like it's enduring a painful punishment, unable to quickly escape. From the looks of it, it won't be able to crawl out for a while. Gu Qingshan closed his eyes and released his inner sight to check the surroundings. He's currently an ascended realm middle stage cultivator. His inner sight can almost cover the entire city. Fortunately, there's only one monster in the capital. Unfortunately, this monster caused unprecedented panic in a human society that had just calmed down. Originally, the entire Fuxi Empire was in a celebratory mood for the emperor's coronation. In the capital, people gathered at the squares to celebrate. At this time, a terrifying coffin carrying an unknown monster suddenly appeared in the sky. The people gathered at the squares fell into panic and chaos. They screamed and ran everywhere. Even the audience in front of the TV had fallen into unprecedented despair. At this time, at the coronation ceremony, Among the guests, someone suddenly shouted, "Verona is a disaster. The heavenly god has sent a demon to stop her from ascending." There was no time to cut off the live broadcast signal, so this voice was transmitted to the entire planet. Everyone who was paying attention to the live broadcast heard this voice. Gu Qingshan suddenly turned around, his gaze locked onto a certain Fushi politician. His inner sight has been covering the coronation ceremony, paying close attention to the slightest movement. At the crucial moment when a monster appeared and everyone fell in a panic, that Fushi politician suddenly ordered someone next to him to speak. A single disaster caused the entire coronation ceremony to go out of control. On the platform, Verona's expression was ashen, gritting her teeth, trying her best to restrain her anger. This exposed her lack of leadership, almost destroying her political future. Gu Qingshan observed the man. He was a military man, wearing the uniform of a general. He is the Fushi Empire's defense minister. He was not afraid of the gazes around him at all. He calmly stood where he was and revealed a victorious smile. Someone leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Her people are all under control. There are no accidents." "That's good. Today, I will let the world know that she can't rule over Fushi." The defense minister continued, "Once the coronation is over, we will immediately begin to purge her people. Kill them all. No, we still need some manpower to maintain the political situation. Those who surrender can live, but we need to control them." Yes. Their conversation was as soft as a mosquito's, and they were surrounded by their men, protecting them. Therefore, the Minister of Defense was not afraid of the news being leaked. Even if the information was leaked, Verona wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Unbeknownst to him, all of this was exposed to Gu Qingshan's divine sense. Gu Qingshan nodded silently, feeling a little annoyed. The world was about to be destroyed, but these people were still causing trouble. Thinking that, Gu Qingshan made up his mind. He patted Zhang Yongho's shoulder and whispered, "I remember that in the Holy Church of Death, there are a total of 2 guardian deities. One is the Black Crow deity, the other is the Hound deity. That's right, this is a well-known fact. What about it?" Zhang Yongho asked. Gu Qingshan said, "I'll borrow Tong Tong for a bit. Then you have to do this," he whispered to Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li about the arrangements. Very quickly, Gu Qingshan disappeared from the emperor's coronation. Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li put on their sunglasses, pushed through the crowd, and slowly walked down the stage. Their unusual actions immediately attracted the attention of the royal guards. These royal guards already knew about Zhang Yongho, as well as Zhang Yongho's methods. Zhang Yongho's protection left a deep impression on them. Seeing him, the royal guards couldn't help but look at the empress. As soon as Verona saw them, Gu Qingshan's words resounded in her ears. She calmed down and nodded to the royal guards. The royal guards stepped aside. Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li slowly walked down the stage, one on the left and one on the right, protecting the empress. "Even if the world is about to be destroyed today, my coronation ceremony must continue," Verona loudly declared to everyone. The bishop could only wipe the sweat off his forehead, forcing himself not to look at the monster in the sky, and continued chanting his blessing. Then, an extremely strange scene appeared. In the sky, the giant coffin was still floating. The monster was roaring and struggling, trying to escape. In the church, Verona stood on the stage, ignoring everything else to continue the coronation ceremony. And this scene was being broadcasted to the entire world. The panicking people who were on the verge of collapse were immediately attracted by this scene. No one turned off their hollow brain. Everyone wanted to see how Fushi's situation would turn out. The emperor's coronation ceremony had the highest viewership ever since the very beginning. And now, the viewership continued to soar. Then something strange happened. A pitch-black crow flew through the clouds and landed on the platform. In front of billions of people, it screeched at Verona. Verona solemnly bowed to the crow. The crow flew up and lightly landed on Verona's shoulder. It seemed to have decided on this position, and once it stood firm, it stopped moving. "Black Crow! Look, it's the Black Crow! My God! The messenger of the death god is here!" The Church of Death's followers shouted in excitement. According to the Holy Church's teachings, The black crow and hound deity are the servants of the death god, the deities who spread death and slumber. And now, a black crow appeared at the emperor's coronation ceremony. Is this really a coincidence? The defense minister smirked mockingly and muttered, "Trying to be a fraud again? Unfortunately, it's useless." He told someone next to him, "We'll move the plan forward. Let those who support her choose to obey me or die." "Yes, sir," the man answered, turned on his hollow brain, and began to make arrangements. When Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li were walking towards the stage, Gu Qingshan had left the coronation ceremony and was strolling around the cathedral by himself. He was an ascended realm middle stage cultivator. Even in the cultivation world, ascended realm represented strength, qualified to become a candidate for any sex master. A powerful inner sight was released from Gu Qingshan's body. In just a few breaths' worth of time, the inner sight covered the entire capital. All the shady dealings couldn't be hidden from Gu Qingshan's inner sight. "Found it," Gu Qingshan muttered. In a few hidden locations, Verona's supporters were kidnapped and threatened. Many military officers who supported the defense minister were guarding these people with weapons in their hands. They silently waited for the defense minister's orders. Gu Qingshan looked up at the beautiful stained glass of the cathedral. One of the glass windows was open. "Go," he said softly. The earth sword and Chao Yin's sword appeared from the void of space. A flash. They went through the window and flew straight to the sky. The two swords were very fast, flying side by side for only a short while before they split up and fell down in different directions. As they fell into the hidden locations, they turned into blurred images in the blink of an eye, traveling back and forth. The heads of the defense minister's supporters exploded like watermelons. They all fell to the ground at the same time, all dead, against normal professionists like them. The speed of the swords alone was enough to kill them. There wasn't even a need to use sword seal. Cutting through all the shackles, the two swords once again flew to the sky, heading to the next location. Gu Qingshan was walking through the cathedral while saving Verona's supporters. He suddenly stopped in his tracks. Under the control of his inner sight, the Earth Sword had already killed all the enemies in one location and saved Verona's daughter, the Fuxi princess. Chapter 423. Their vision blurred, and they found themselves in the capital's grand cathedral. They exchanged looks of disbelief. Beneath his feet was a smooth marble floor, and he could hear a series of impassioned words. It was the bishop of the Holy Church of Death, chanting his blessing to the Empress. The bishop's voice was loud and full of power, accompanied by holy music, resounding throughout the grand cathedral. "My mother is currently ascending the throne. Isn't she?" the princess asked. "That's right. You can go find her right now," Gu Qingshan replied. "There won't be any problems." "There won't be. The people who kidnapped us. You can say it out loud, in front of everyone, and then what? What will happen? The mastermind behind this will pay the price." The princess stared at Gu Qingshan deeply and gracefully bowed. "I was very arrogant when I danced with you before. I'm sorry," she said. Gu Qingshan hurriedly clasped his fist to return the gesture and sincerely said, "It's nothing. As long as you don't treat others like that in the future, you'll definitely become a good successor to the throne." The princess looked straight into his eyes and whispered, "I'll only act that arrogant when I'm choosing a husband." Gu Qingshan maintained his clasping fist posture, bowed again, and lowered his head without answering. The princess observed him, then suddenly smiled and led the other ministers away. Her whispering could be heard in the wind. "Anna has some skill." Gu Qingshan wiped the sweat off his forehead. At this point, the Earth Sword and Chao Yin's sword flew through the window and landed in front of Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan sighed in relief, put the two swords away, and scanned the sky with his inner sight. The monster in the sky was about to break free. "I need to hurry." Gu Qingshan walked towards a secluded corner of the cathedral. A boy and a girl were sitting in that corner, playing with a cartoon hero doll on the ground. They were having so much fun that they didn't even notice what was happening outside the cathedral. No one was taking care of them. That's strange. Gu Qingshan scanned the two children with his inner sight. That's normal. He then scanned the entire cathedral with his inner sight and quickly found the parents of the two children. The parents were leading a few guards, shouting their children's names from the other side of the cathedral, hurriedly looking for them. What irresponsible parents. Seems like this isn't anything strange. It's just that I've been too tense this entire time, thinking that something big is about to happen. I've become a bit paranoid myself. Gu Qing-shan smiled bitterly. The two children noticed a tall figure standing in front of them and looked up. "Who are you?" the boy called out. "Gu Qing-shan," the boy asked. "Ah, sorry to disturb you. Are you playing a hero game?" "Yeah, it is," the little girl replied. "Yeah, it's a fun game," the little girl said. Gu Qing-shan crouched down and smiled as he asked the little girl, "Heroine, may I know your name?" The little girl saw his warm smile and had a better impression of him. She replied, "My name is Cece." Gu Qing-shan crouched down and smiled, asking the little girl, "Heroine, may I know your name?" The boy cut in. "What's there to see? It's just adults talking non-stop. It's boring," the little boy interrupted. "What's there to see? It's just adults talking non-stop. It's boring." "That's right. It's not interesting at all," Cece pouted. Gu Qing-shan stared at the cartoon hero in their hands. He suddenly said, "I heard that there's a superhero who can fly. He'll perform killing monsters in front of the Empress." "Really?" The two children looked up, their eyes glowing. Gu Qing-shan replied, "Of course it's true. The monster has already appeared. The superhero will soon appear." Cece tilted her head and asked doubtfully, "Uncle, you're not lying to me, are you?" Gu Qing-shan replied with a serious expression, "Uncle has never lied to a beautiful little girl." "Wow, that's great." Cece believed him, stood up, and ran towards the platform. The boy quickly followed. "Which hero will it be?" "I'm guessing it's the Justice Superman," the boy said as he ran. "No, I'm guessing it's the one-armed swordsman," Cece loudly called out. They screamed and ran out of sight. This place was quite secluded, so after the two cute children left, there was no one else around. Gu Qing-shan released his inner sight to see that the young parents were on their way to the coronation platform. The two little guys would soon meet their parents face to face. Done. This was only a small matter. The next step is the real business. Gu Qing-shan tapped his inventory bag. The light golden UG general armor set appeared, then broke apart into a helmet, breastplate, shoulder guards, arm guards, gauntlets, belt, knee pads, boots, and so on. These sets didn't have any unnecessary decorations, only complicated runes engraved all over them, giving off an indescribable sense of beauty. "Little girl, you guessed correctly. I really am a swordsman." As soon as Gu Qing-shan said so, the armor set scattered, swimming around his body like sentient fish. In just a few moments, the entire UG general armor set had been donned. Gu Qing-shan put on the silver mask and changed the title to Talented General. The Earth Sword and Chao Yin's sword automatically appeared. "Although I'm a swordsman, I'm not a one-armed cartoon hero." Gu Qing-shan's figure flashed and disappeared. On the platform, Verona's anger was evident. The princess was telling the story of how she was kidnapped. Following the princess narration, the entire world went into an uproar. The Fuxi emperor had only just died, and someone already dared to kidnap the princess. The princess knelt down next to Verona's dress, silently crying. Everyone stared at Verona, waiting for her to react. Verona took a deep breath and loudly declared, "From now on, I shall be crowned king. I shall protect my people, not letting them suffer the pain of losing their dignity. I shall eradicate all evil and ensure this country's peace and stability. I will love each and every one of the Fuxi celestial race's children like my own. I swear I shall protect them." She quickly stepped forward, took the crown from the bishop's hand, and placed it on her head. The empire's empress, Verona, had crowned herself king. "I, Verona, am this country's king. I shall protect this country," she loudly declared. The Freedom Federation's president was the first to stand up and applaud. The applause slowly grew louder and louder. Crowning herself as king was obviously against etiquette, but the world leaders applauded her for her persistence and attitude. The leaders cheered the entire scene. All of a sudden, a mocking voice spoke up. "The monster is in the sky. Why don't you go and destroy it? The voice still came from the military. This time, the defense minister himself spoke up. He was a veteran, fifth-stage combatant. In the entire Fushi Empire, he was the strongest combatant, second only to the emperor. Other than the Fushi emperor, no one could do anything to him. Verona's anger rose again. This is a live broadcast. You dare to do this on the most important day of my coronation ceremony? She tried to keep her voice calm and spoke. Defense Minister, I order you to gather your men and personally lead them to face the enemy, the defense minister smirked. A person like you who wears the crown yourself. Who can you order around? I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Verona shook her head. As a combatant of the Empire, you've disappointed the Empire. She suddenly looked up at the sky. The monster was still struggling, about to escape from the coffin. Done. A familiar voice resounded in her ears. Her Majesty the Empress calmed down. She reached her hand out to hold the black crow, softly begging. Deity of the Holy Church, my protector, I need your power. Strangely enough, the black crow seemed to understand her. It spread its wings and flew up. Following that, a little girl's surprised voice was heard. Mommy, look, I really didn't lie to you, the little girl Cece loudly called out. In front of everyone's eyes, the black crow suddenly disappeared, turning into a blinding golden light. The golden light slowly descended and hovered at the edge of the platform. Everyone turned to look. It was an entity wearing golden armor and a silver mask. No one could see his face. He was covered in a light golden armor, exuding an indescribable sense of mystery and dignity. The military minister originally wanted to say a few sarcastic words, but he was also attracted by this golden-armored deity and couldn't say anything else. He couldn't even see through this person's power. He really wanted to treat this as Verona's bluff. But this isn't magic. There's no way it can fool the eyes of so many professionists. The black crow really did disappear and turned into this golden-armored deity. There's no way to fake this. He can even fly in the sky. Only fifth-stage professionists can fly. Since when did the Empire have a fifth-stage protector? Could he really be a divine envoy of the Holy Church of Death? Just as everyone was secretly guessing, a low voice came from behind the silver mask. Verona, the Empire's new empress. I'm here, Verona replied. From today onwards, your will be the direction of the Empire's longsword. Verona spoke. Follow my will. Please kill that monster in the sky. At your service, Empress, the golden-armored deity replied. Air swirled around him like a vortex, carrying him up into the sky. Before anyone could see what happened, the golden-armored deity suddenly disappeared. Look, a meteor! How beautiful! The little girl Cece exclaimed. Everyone turned to look, only to see that in the gloomy sky, streaks of light were flying across the giant monster's body. Complicated meteors appeared one after another in the blue sky. The meteors fell like rain, circling around the monster and killing it. The monster didn't have any chance to resist. It didn't even have time to scream before it was cleanly dismembered. Even the coffin was chopped into flying sawdust. Secret art, silver star, title skill, rampaging sword chi. Rampaging sword chi. Your sword is surrounded by countless fine sword chi. Whenever you use this skill, the sword chi will manifest into a shadow and attack with the same amount of damage. Note, this title skill can only be used when using swords. This was a terrifying monster that no one had ever seen before, one that brought so much fear and pressure to everyone, yet it was so easily destroyed. Everyone was stunned. The golden light slowly descended again, stopping in front of the platform. The golden-armored deity's low voice resounded. Empress of the Empire, do you have any other orders? Verona asked. My protector, may I ask, what will happen to those who disobey the Emperor's orders? This is the result, the golden-armored deity answered. He disappeared, then reappeared. A head was thrown onto the platform, the head of the defense minister. The defense minister's expression was calm, but also a bit solemn and contemplative. His corpse was still standing on the grandstand, motionless. Obviously, even at the moment of his death, he didn't know that his head had already fallen off. This was such a fast sword. Verona bowed. Thank you. It's fine now. I will summon you again next time. I am at your service. Empress, saying so, the golden-armored deity disappeared without any warning. No, he didn't disappear. The black crow reappeared. It caught at the Empress before flying away. This scene caused all the professionist expressions to change. The black crow used an incomprehensible method to turn into a golden-armored deity, then used an extremely powerful method to kill both the monster and the military minister. Regardless of what it was powerful enough to make everyone feel despair. At this moment, every single professionist was silently asking themselves, if it was me, would I be able to deal with this black crow? The answer is no. At this time, Empress Verona moved. She bent down, grabbed the defense minister's hair, and lifted his head up. Her Majesty the Empress was facing the live TV camera. I am Verona, a lady of the Medici clan, a cardinal of the sleeping god of death, the Empress of the Fushi Empire. No matter who you are, please remember who I am, and think carefully before offending me. She casually threw the head down the platform. Everyone went silent. Only Ifeili excitedly licked her lips. Chapter 424. In the Fushi Empire, Verona crowned herself as Empress in front of the entire world. The Empress coronation ceremony was a success. At the same time, the Holy Empire, all the fiend kind were dead. In this attack, the entire Holy Empire's capital suffered heavy losses. The Holy Church's Grand Cathedral was in ruins. Only the underground part of the Grand Cathedral was still usable. The secret underground room of the cathedral. Isa stood in front of the blood pool, sighing tiredly. All right, I'll welcome you now, she said. A card floated above the blood pool. Following her words, the card began to give off a gray light that illuminated the blood pool. Demonic Summoning Card. Description: using this card, you can extract the power of countless souls and receive them from another world. A rumbling voice came from the blood pool. You've worked hard. The ceremony is almost complete. I just need a bit more time to gather power before I can reach your world. Asmodeus, will you really protect me when you come to this world? Isa asked. Asmodeus said nothing. A card flew out from the blood pool, silently hovering in front of Isa. The card was covered in a layer of flowing flame, making it impossible to see what was drawn on it. What is this? Isa asked curiously. An unspeakable card. You must carry it with you at all times. It will automatically activate at a specific time to save you from danger, Asmodeus said. The card fell into Isa's hand. Isa was a bit hesitant. She really can't use a card that she can't confirm. Not to mention, it's not that easy to take something from a devil. She said, I want to check this card. Go ahead. Isa put the card against her forehead and carefully felt it. A protective force slowly spread out and surrounded her. Holding this card covered in flame, Isa felt a deep sense of protection. This card made her feel relaxed. For a God's chosen card user like Isa, this kind of spirit sense can't be wrong. Thank you, Asmodeus. Isa put the card away and said, You're welcome. Before I arrive, you must be careful and ensure your own safety, Asmodeus said. There was a rare hint of concern in his tone. Isa noticed it. Her tone became even more respectful. Yes, then I'll go and rest first. Go, Asmodeus said. Isa left the blood pool. A slightly worried sigh came from the blood pool. When Isa came to the surface, she saw Great Saint Hurt and Cardinal Kid hurrying over together. What is it? Isa asked. Kid said he has information on that person, Hurt reported. Who? After Isa asked the question, she immediately realized what was going on. Yes, the officer from the Federation who caused a scene at Madame Punna's banquet, fought with him, and escaped through warp. That fellow actually dared to make a fool out of him. Hurry up and say it. Isa said immediately. Please have a look. Cardinal Kid turned on his optical computer and projected a scene on the screen. Fushi Empire. Verona was crowned empress. Under her summons, a golden-armored swordsman appeared, killing the monster and the military minister. Is it this person? Isa asked. Cardinal Kid answered. At the time he escaped from Madame Punna's banquet, he was wearing this armor. Are you sure? I'm sure. My whip can't pierce through this armor at all, so I have a deep impression of it, Kid answered. Isa squinted her eyes and stared at the golden-armored swordsman. Suddenly, her gaze fell onto the golden-armored swordsman's sword. That's right, it's him. I remember this sword. She nodded. If that's the case, then he's a Fushi's man, Hurt said. No wonder we couldn't find such a person in the Federation, Kid excitedly said. Isa went silent for a while, then asked, We have an invitation to the Fushi Emperor's coronation, right? We do. How long will it take to fly there now? If we use a high-speed shuttle, we'll be able to make it to the Emperor's coronation lunch. Very well. Kid will stay here. Hurt will come with me to Fushi. Yes, the two holy apostles lowered their eyes. Isa muttered, Finally found you. I really want to know what exactly you took from the Holy Empire. Very quickly, the high-speed shuttle flew up and headed toward the Fushi capital. The Fushi Empire. The capital. The VIP lunch. Everything was done quickly and simply. The leaders of all the countries were gathered here to discuss how to deal with Hell's invasion. Apparently, the Federation scientists were also about to announce an important new technological product. But before that, they couldn't let so many leaders attend the meeting on an empty stomach. So they quickly ate a bit of food for the coronation lunch and prepared for the meeting. On the VIP podium, the Empress gave the briefest of speeches. The lunch quickly began. The leaders of all countries took their seats. The Empress talked to the leaders, politicians, and celebrities. Her expression was calm, her posture elegant, her demeanor charming. The crown on her head glowed brightly. Everything was very harmonious. Suddenly, a royal guard ran over and whispered something into the Empress' ear. The Empress apologized to everyone and left with a few diplomatic officials and guards. This scene piqued everyone's curiosity. Very quickly, they found out the answer. The main door of the banquet hall opened. The Empress and 4 other people walked in, laughing and chatting. The oldest one was someone everyone recognized, the president of the Freedom Federation. The other 3 young people, but they were hard to recognize. But from the Empress' attitude, she seemed to be closer to them. That's strange. What's even stranger is that the president of the Freedom Federation also seems to be very close to them. I want to know the information of those 2 young people right now, Isa said. She brought Hurt and sat there silently, but no one dared to talk to her. Yes, Hurt turned on his hollow brain and connected to the Holy Church's intelligence system. Very quickly, he showed the hollow brain in front of the Pope. After reading through the information, the Pope looked at the 3 young people. One is the Federation's king of assassins, one is a famous scientist, HM, and the last one is a nobody. This is a strange combination. The Pope went silent for a bit, then suddenly said, Wait, why does that scientist give me a familiar feeling? She suddenly had the urge to draw a card to see fate, but she held it back. This is a solemn banquet. If I draw a card here, wouldn't I be treated like a monkey? At this point, a royal court official came forward. Facing the Pope, he was so nervous that his forehead was covered in sweat, but he still maintained his smile. The ceremonial officer placed a rectangular paper card in front of the Pope and bowed. The Pope reached her hand out to take a look. After the lunch banquet, the World Conference will be held to discuss a strategy to resist the apocalypse. I will come as scheduled, she said. Yes, the official lightly nodded and turned to leave. After he left the Pope's table, he silently sighed in relief. Isa evaluated Monarch Verona. The Empress welcomed the esteemed guests of the Federation to their seats, said a few words, and was about to leave. As the host of this place, she needs to arrange the upcoming World Conference. Isa thought for a bit, then raised her hand and waved at the Empress. Her every move was being watched at all times, so the moment she moved, many people noticed this scene. Of course, Monarch Verona noticed this. Verona turned to look at Isa. Their eyes met. Isa asked, Verona, can we talk? The banquet hall slowly became silent. One was a religious leader who killed the other's entire family and took over the country, a peak 5th stage combatant. The other was killed, her entire family was destroyed, even her husband was killed, but still managed to stand strong and regain control of the country. The grudge between them was as deep as the ocean. But now, the Pope smiled and invited the Empress, wanted to talk to her. Before the Empress could say anything, a royal guard stepped out. If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need for you to get close to the Empress, of course. In the common world, the Pope was the strongest professionist on par with the Fushi Emperor. Although the Empress was also a professionist, she couldn't compare. If the Pope wanted to assassinate the Empress, as long as they were close enough, she would be able to do it in a single strike. Verona, are you afraid of me? Isa asked. Verona's lips curled into a mocking smile and replied, You should call me your Majesty. Isa stared at her and spoke softly. Is that so? But you're also calling me by my name, of course. Can you tell me what your identity is? Country thief? Kingslayer. I'm the Pope of the Holy Church, Verona answered. The Holy Church belongs to the Medici clan. The current head of the clan, Anna Medici, has never acknowledged your authority. The smile on the Pope's face slowly faded. Verona looked at all the dignitaries in the banquet hall, then at Isa, and spoke. If you have something to say, just say it. Isa spoke. This is related to the Fushi Empire's royal family scandal. It's best if you come here and we talk in private. She rested her chin on her hand and spoke with interest. What? You don't dare to come? As the Empress, you're afraid that I'll kill you? Hearing that, Verona could only silently grit her teeth. The other party is too dangerous. No matter what, she won't put herself in harm's way. Fighting for a temporary advantage is something only hot-blooded young people do. When she was about to refuse, a familiar voice came from next to her ear. Chapter 425. Verona walked towards Isa without hesitation. Speak. Our Fushi royal family doesn't have anything to hide, she said. Seeing her walking towards her, Isa raised her eyebrows in surprise. Closer, even closer, under everyone's watchful eyes, Monarch Verona walked in front of Isa. The two of them were less than half a meter apart. Idiot, Isa silently muttered in her mind. At this moment, she couldn't help but admit that she already wanted to kill her. If Verona dies, Fushi will definitely fall into chaos. The Holy Empire is already in my hands. With my own strength, I'll also be able to take a large chunk of Fushi's territory. Population, resources, wealth, professionists, these are all things I need. Isa slowly stood up. She spoke in a low voice. Verona, I'll make this short. That black crow of yours, or should I say, that gold-armored guardian, is a thief. He stole a treasure of the Holy Church. You have to bring him to see me right now. Otherwise I won't be polite, Verona asked. Treasure of the Holy Church? What is it? Isa paused a bit, then answered. During Madame Dupont's banquet, he took the chance to steal a painting. Painting? Verona doubtfully asked. Isa answered. The painting where Anna was crowned princess. Verona looked at Isa with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. She spoke. I seem to remember, this painting belonged to the royal family. The king once lent it to Madame Dupont for display. When did it become yours? Even if Black Crow took the painting, how do you know it wasn't Princess Anna who gave it to Black Crow? Princess Anna is the inheritor of the royal family's wealth. Even she didn't say anything about it. What right do you have to criticize the royal family's wealth? After a few questions, Isa fell into silence for a while. Under normal circumstances, this makes perfect sense. Then, let's not talk about this for now. Isa changed the topic. Not only did your guardian steal the painting, he also tried to assassinate me. The banquet hall became rowdy. Isa stared at Verona and spoke word by word. Bring him to see me. That's fine, right? You said he tried to assassinate you? This is really interesting. The ridicule on Verona's face grew. In front of everyone, she slowly explained. As everyone knows, the Black Crow and Hound deity are the two guardian deities of the Holy Church of Death, the servants of the sleeping death god. You said that Black Crow tried to assassinate you. That's actually the right thing to do. Correct? Isa asked. That's right. You stole the Holy Church's authority and blasphemed God's dignity. The Black Crow, God wants to punish you. Don't you understand? If you really are the Pope of the Holy Church of Death, why would the Black Crow send death for you? Verona looked around and loudly declared, "That's why you're nothing but a heretic who stole the country's religion. The god of death has punished you for that." Isa could no longer suppress the killing intent in her heart. She raised her hand and said, "How arrogant! The one who can truly bring death to you mortals is me." Several cards appeared in her hand. She wanted to kill Verona. In the blink of an eye, Verona disappeared. Three young men appeared in front of Isa. Gu Shan let go of Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li's shoulders. Using Shadow Shift, they switched places with Verona. "What?" Isa's pupils dilated as she couldn't help but exclaim. She felt an unprecedented sense of danger. In a split second, Zhang Yongho wielded a pair of green daggers, swinging them towards Isa's throat. Yi Fei Li shouted, both hands releasing a crimson glow. A sword appeared in front of Gu Shan, stabbing forward. The three of them unleashed their killing attacks at the same time, aiming for a one-hit kill. Zhang Yongho was the world's most famous king of assassins. Yi Fei Li had already surpassed the realm of a fifth-stage combatant, the strongest man-killer fiend. And Gu Shan was an ascended realm middle-stage sword saint. A sword cultivator was a powerful profession that specialized in close combat. Not to mention Gu Shan was already a sword saint. Even a cultivator a realm higher than a sword saint wouldn't dare to let a sword saint get close to them. When these three people attacked at the same time, no one in the world would be able to stop them. Even Isa would be killed as soon as she made the slightest mistake. At the very last moment, a card appeared above Isa's head. A card wrapped in a brilliant flame. It came from the demon Lord Asmodeus. The flames completely dispersed. The card revealed itself. An ancient clock was drawn on top of the card. Countless skeletons climbed up the clock, grabbing at the hands with all their might, not allowing them to move. Demon Lord card. Demon's time transaction description. A trigger-type high-level card. When a fatal threat appears, the attacking enemy will fall into a state of time freeze for 5 seconds. The card scattered into tiny sparks. At the same time, a male voice quickly resounded in Isa's mind. "Isa, the mysterious death god has been following you. This card is my gift to you. It will allow you to kill any enemy that threatens you. Remember, attack with everything you have." The 5 seconds began. The first second, hearing Asmodeus's voice, Isa was still shaken. She quickly drew a card. In front of her, Gu Shan, Zhang Yongho, and Yi Fei Li were all frozen. An invisible air current surrounded them. Even the dagger, the blood-red glow, and the crescent moon sword phantom were all frozen in the air, unable to move. They had fallen into a state of time freeze. While in front of them, in just 1 second, Isa had drawn a total of 11 cards. The second begins. Isa discarded a few useless cards and drew a few good ones. For a whole 5 seconds, they won't be able to resist, enough for her to attack. She smirked. "Assassinate me? Die." The third second, Isa circulated her soul points, about to activate the 11 cards in her hand one by one. Next to Gu Shan, another sword appeared. But before the sword could do anything, a blood-red scroll suddenly appeared above Gu Shan's head. God's moment of emptiness. Description. An automatic triggering high-level scroll. When the enemy is about to unleash a fatal attack, the enemy's mind will suddenly fall into a blank state, lasts for 3 seconds. The blood-red scroll gave off an intense red glow. Seeing the scroll, Isa screamed as if she had seen a ghost. "No, blood cloak." Immediately after, it was as if she had been hit on the head with a stick, and her entire body became sluggish and motionless. God's moment of emptiness worked. The clock ticked. The 4th second. The 11 cards fell from Isa's hand and disappeared. In this second, both sides of the battle fell into a state where they couldn't move. The 5th second passed in a flash. The 5th second ended. Bam! Bam! At the same time, 2 faint sounds could be heard. Devil's time transaction and God's moment of emptiness both disappeared. Both sides regained their ability to move. 3 attacks with sharp murderous intent pierced toward Isha. But this time, Isa was prepared. She hurriedly drew a card and shouted, "Hurt! Hurt is the Holy Church's most powerful warrior. As long as he can handle it, I'll have enough time to use my cards." Isa has no doubts about this. The first card appeared in her hand. Jang Young-ho's attack arrived. Repel. Isa raised the card and shouted. Jang Young-ho was sent flying. Scatter. Isa quickly drew the second card. With a poof, the wind blew the bloody glow away, blowing Yi Fei-li away. Isa quickly retreated and moved to the side. She moved to the side to let Hurt take her place against Gu Qing-shan. As long as Hurt can block Gu Qing-shan's sword, I'll have enough time to draw 2 more cards. With 2 more cards, I'll have a chance to breathe. But no one appeared. Gu Qing-shan's sword was aimed at her chest. Isha's expression changed. She risked her life and pulled out a card without any regard for anything else. She stared at the card, feeling overjoyed. This is a defensive card. As long as Hurt can handle it, with this card, I'll be able to relax a bit. Isa immediately activated this defensive card. A holy shield suddenly appeared in front of her. Poof! But a sword pierced through her back and came out through her chest. Isa froze. This was a fatal strike. Secret art, Swallow returns. She didn't have a card to protect her back. Isa struggled to turn around to look at Hurt. Great Holy Apostle Hurt's hand was still burning with holy white flames, but he silently stood on one side. He was restraining himself from joining the battle. He retreated far away. Why? Isa asked. Chapter 426. Little brother? Isa showed a mocking expression. Caring about such an idiot, what a laughable family. She spat out some blood and slowly closed her eyes. She died. Gu Qing-shan sheathed her sword with a complicated expression. Among the humans, another powerful professionist had died. But there's no other way. Both the Fuxi Emperor and the Holy Church's Pope have gone on the wrong path. They will lead humanity into the abyss of destruction. What made Gu Qing-shan think even more deeply was that everything that happened just now was actually a battle that went out of control. A single God's chosen card was able to stop time, restraining 3 people at once. Normal God's chosen cards don't have such power. If all God's chosen cards were this powerful, the other professions wouldn't even need to live anymore. Although the Pope is powerful, she wouldn't have such a powerful law card. If she really was that powerful, she would only need 1 more law card to kill us all. Gu Qing-shan carefully recalled all of the Pope's fighting abilities. That's right. This card was able to stop time. It stood out among all of her cards. What she didn't expect even more was that Su Cher also had a card at the same level. Gu Qing-shan is very sure that Su Cher didn't go to the cultivation world. To have such a powerful card, just what kind of world did she go to? Jang Young-ho wiped the blood from his mouth, quickly walked forward and looked at the Pope's body. I never thought that I would one day participate in the assassination of a combatant of your level. It's my honor. He solemnly bowed to the Pope's body. Yi Fei-li floated down from the sky, standing next to Gu Qing-shan. Yi Fei-li looked at Hurt and asked in a low voice, "What now? Do we kill this person?" "Don't worry about it. Someone will naturally deal with the Holy Church's business," Gu Qing-shan answered. The Holy Church's business? Yi Fei-li was stunned. Then a dignified female voice came. "Hurt, in the name of the Holy Church of Death, I ask you, are you still loyal to your faith?" Queen Verona slowly walked over. Hurt lowered his head. "You don't have the right to ask me. Of course I'm qualified," Verona answered. "I was a cardinal of the Holy Church. You've worked with me for 5 years. You should know my loyalty to my faith." Hurt looked up. "I know, but you are now the Fuxi Empire's empress. You have nothing to do with the Holy Church," Verona spoke. "What I want to say is, the Medici clan now has a true mistress. You should be loyal to her." Hurt said disdainfully. "You mean Anna? That little girl?" "She's not a little girl. She's the most outstanding head of our Medici clan in the last few hundred years. Countless other clansmen couldn't even hope to match her." Verona's tone became stern. "Hurt, remember this well. If you're not loyal to the Medici clan, you're betraying the Holy Church. You can go. You can either leave the Holy Church or swear allegiance to the Holy Church and make a decision with the other holy apostles." Verona continued, I can guarantee that Anna will definitely make the Holy Church flourish. With or without you people, Verona gestured for the royal guards to make way. Hurt looked at her with a complicated expression, then turned to leave. Verona then walked in front of Gu Qingshan's group and stared at Isa's body. This bastard who stole the country and killed the king died in your hands. This is an important moment for the Medici clan, a moment of new life for the Holy Church. Tears flowed down her cheeks as she smiled from the bottom of her heart. In front of everyone, the Empress loudly declared, You are the benefactors of the Medici clan, the benefactors of the Holy Church of Death. I shall commend your bravery with the highest honor. Gu Qingshan clasped her fist and bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. At the same time, the faraway Holy Empire. The Holy Empire's capital's Grand Cathedral. An underground secret room. The card floating above the pool of blood, demonic calling, suddenly shattered. The light it was emitting instantly disappeared. From the pool of blood, a voice muttered, She's dead. What a surprise. It seems the death god is extremely angry. Even my law card couldn't stop him. The blood formed a hand that reached out from the pool of blood. The power gathered in the pool is enough for me to open the path between the two worlds and return to the purgatory world. The blood hand reached into the air, as if searching for something. The rarest thing in the infinite worlds, God's chosen soul from Fog Isle. I'm about to obtain it. The blood hand clenched tightly. According to the contract, I'm going to take your soul away. The voice sounded a bit excited. Fushi, the banquet hall. Isa suddenly opened her eyes. Gu Qingshan's sword was still stuck in her chest. Isa looked around, then at the blood glow and the sword on her body. She crawled up from her body and stared at her body. No one could see her. A sense of realization appeared in Isa's mind. I'm already dead. Ah, so that's how you died. A voice spoke from the air. Isa looked up and called out, Asmodeus. It's me. I'm here to guide you away from this chaotic world. Asmodeus appeared. No one could see him. At this moment, he was also in his soul form. Isa looked at Asmodeus and spoke with a voice full of hatred. Asmodeus, please avenge me. I'm willing to pay you. Asmodeus shook his head. No, you're wrong. According to the contract, you belong to me. Everything you have belongs to me, so there's nothing you can pay me with. Isa's tone became hurried. Didn't you want to know what happened in Huangquan? If you help me avenge me, I'll definitely tell you all the secrets I know. Asmodeus's voice calmed down. No. Lies are useless against an existence like me. Isa. Not to mention, I'm not interested in other people's hell, Asmodeus replied. Truthfully, the only thing I'm interested in is your soul. I see you're a very good card user. I need you to fight for me and bring me unparalleled benefits. Isa suddenly uttered a voice full of hatred. Then help me. Kill my enemy. I'm willing to pay anything. Asmodeus asked. Is that so? Anything? That's right, Asmodeus. The order you created with your soul? I want that. Isa's entire body froze. Her voice became full of fear. How do you know that? Asmodeus's voice became full of pride. You're a god chosen from Fog Isle, as well as a guru. Surely you can use a god's chosen card to create an inherent order, can't you? That would require me to lose myself, give up everything, and turn into an invisible existence to fight against the apocalypse. I can't do that kind of eternal and painful battle. Isa screamed in a frenzy. I'm not going to avenge you, Asmodeus. Asmodeus descended from the void of space and grabbed Isa by the neck. He suddenly roared. You fool! You don't know anything about order. Come with me. I'll tell you how important order is. It will greatly benefit both you and I. His tone suddenly became gentle. Living beings, all things, everything, in front of order. They are nothing but lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Let us drink the world's blood together and enjoy the wondrous feast of souls. While saying so, his mind was quickly moving. Should I kill a few people to vent Isa's anger? His gaze swept through the entire area, finally stopping at the two swords next to Gu Qingshan. When he saw the Chaoyin sword, he was a bit surprised. When he saw the earth sword, his eyes flashed with fear. After looking at the swords, Asmodeus looked in another direction. With his divine presence, he could see a faint figure holding a scepter, silently standing there. That person had a skinny dog head. Asmodeus's pupils dilated. The deity of death was still here. What are you looking at? Isha followed his line of sight. It was empty space. There was nothing there. No, I'm not looking at anything, Asmodeus replied. He decided not to cause any trouble. Isa couldn't believe it and hesitantly asked, "What you said just now, is it true?" Asmodeus regained his senses and replied, "Of course. After knowing the true secret of order, you'll cry and beg me to help you turn into some sort of order. You'll gladly do it. Asmodeus, tell me, what exactly is the secret of order?" Isa didn't let him off the hook. Order doesn't have to be used to save the world. It can also be used to enslave living beings. Do you still not understand? Saying so, Asmodeus's eyes glowed with excitement. Isa froze. She had never thought about that before. She only felt a door opening in front of her. Outside the door was a completely new world. Asmodeus urged her. "Let's go. Quickly come with me. We can't stay here any longer." He waved his hand, opening a hole in the void of space. Chapter 427. Let's rewind time for a day. The night before Verona's coronation as Empress, Gu Qingshan had just returned from the ocean, returning to the mountaintop mansion. Su Xier was still stuck in the crossroads of fate. Dusk, the border between the Holy Empire and Fuxi, a barren town. Although the town's church was a bit old, it was fortunate that there was an old priest guarding it. For many years, regardless of the weather, the church's doors were always open. But today, the church's doors were tightly shut. The curious townspeople asked around and found out the reason. The nearly 100-year-old chandelier that would creak when the wind blows finally came to an end. It fell from the ceiling. The chandelier smashed through 2 rows of seats, almost hitting the old priest. Just like that, the church couldn't be used anymore. Perhaps it was to repair the seats, or perhaps it was because he was still in shock and needed a rest. Either way, the old priest declared the church to be temporarily closed. The doors closed, separating the inside and outside of the church into 2 different worlds. Inside the silent church, the old priest's voice suddenly came. He spoke with a hoarse voice. "Your Highness Anna, you are the greatest genius in the history of the Medici clan, the only head of the clan to have fully grasped the ancient techniques. This old man believes that you are already the strongest head of the clan. There is no need for you to risk your life here again." In front of him, the beautiful red-haired girl spoke. "No need to persuade me anymore. I have to give it a try, Anna." Anna was here. She had a large backpack on her back, standing in the middle of the church. The old priest tried his best to persuade her. The clan has produced many excellent successors. Each of them tried their best to awaken the god of death. A few of them even committed suicide in front of the sleeping coffer, hoping that the god of death would show themselves. But no matter what they did, the sleeping coffer didn't respond at all up until now. Only the first-generation ancestor has ever opened it. "Your Highness Anna, this coffer is an ominous object. This old man advises you to quickly return. Cut the crap. I'm the head of the clan. The head of the clan has to try. This is the rule." Anna put her hands on her hips and said. The old priest sighed. "There's no one left in the family. For the continuation and legacy of the family, your most important mission is to ensure your own safety." Anna nodded. "You're right. I don't think I'm stronger than my ancestors. I just want to quickly end this inheritance mission." The old priest was slightly stunned. Anna said, "I've never felt that I'm stronger than those ancestors in history. I also cherish my life very much. As the head of the family, I came here just so that I won't have any regrets in the future." "I see." The old priest looked at her expression carefully and was relieved to find that she really did not have much hope. He was afraid that Anna would take things too hard and pay a huge price to open the inheritance treasure box. The Medici clan can't afford any more losses. "But, Your Highness, why do you look so anxious?" the old priest asked carefully. Anna said, "Nonsense. Let's end this quickly. I have to go back immediately." She clenched her fist and declared, "I've completely understood the ancient techniques. I'm no longer the me of the past. I'm going to kill the Pope." "Princess Anna, I believe in your abilities." The old priest smiled, as if very pleased. "One last question, Your Highness," he said. "Go ahead, inside your backpack. Are you going to use it to awaken the death god?" "TCH, a bag that a girl carries with her. Of course it's for herself. Why give it to the death god?" "Aha. Very well. Please go in." The old priest walked to a certain part of the church and lit a torch. He held the torch in one hand and pressed a hidden mechanism in the dark with the other. A slight vibration. The ground of the church sank down, revealing an ancient secret passage. Ho! A fierce cold wind rushed out from the secret passage, wreaking havoc in the church. The old priest turned around and stood on one side of the passage. "Your Highness Anna, please be careful." The old priest gave the torch to Anna. All right, you guard the outside. I'll go in and take a look. If I can't do it, I'll come out. I won't force myself," Anna said. She took the torch, facing the wind, and walked into the passage without looking back. The old priest stared at Anna's back and sighed. "Your Highness has finally grown up." Anna followed the passage. A few moments later, the passage became steeper, almost straight down. A flight of stairs that extended into the darkness appeared under Anna's feet, one step at a time. Her surroundings became damp and cold. Only the torch in her hand gave off a faint light that illuminated a small area. Anna had been walking for over an hour, but the stairs still continued to extend downwards. She stopped in her tracks, growing impatient. How long is this going to take? I don't have much time to waste. Saying so, Anna tightened her backpack. She leapt up high and flew straight down into the darkness. Behind her, a pair of wings made of flames were flapping at full power, illuminating the entire dark abyss. The stream of hot air whistled as it carried Anna down slowly. The wind blew past her long hair, whistling past her ears. Using the light from the wings, Anna could clearly see the rocks, stairs, and fleeing bats along the way. She avoided these obstacles without slowing down at all. This flying speed was several dozen times faster than walking down the stairs. A few minutes later, Anna arrived at the bottom of the abyss. It was completely dark and silent here. The torch was about to go out. Anna raised it up so that she could clearly see her surroundings. A large black door appeared at the end of the tunnel. This door was so large that Anna had to look up to see a single sentence etched on top of the door. "The god of death sleeps here. Only the dead can see him." Anna stared blankly at this sentence for a while. In history, there were a few extremely powerful heroes who managed to find some clues and discovered the Medici clan's secret. They snuck in here alone. But no matter who they were, as soon as they came to this door, they died. Every single combatant fell into eternal slumber. Only a member of the Medici clan can safely enter the Holy Temple. Even so, since the beginning of time, the Medici clan has never been able to awaken the god of death. Countless clever clansmen tried everything they could think of, but in the end, they focused on this sentence. They stood in front of God's altar, attempting suicide to awaken the slumbering god. But it still didn't work. Anna wouldn't do that. She held the life substitution contract, cleared her throat, and solemnly spoke to the black door. "I, the contractor of the god of death, the new leader of the Medici clan, Anna Medici, request to enter the Holy Temple." The life substitution contract seemed to have sensed something and became extremely cold. Rumble. The black door opened. As soon as Anna went in, the door quickly closed again. It was completely dark. A suffocating silence enveloped this place. "This is the holy temple of the sleeping god of death." Anna put up a finger. Pop! A small flame appeared on her finger, illuminating her beautiful face. Anna lightly flicked her finger. The flame flew into the air, turning into a raging flame. The flame illuminated the entire holy temple. Anna looked around. Even though she already knew about this place from her clan's records, Anna still couldn't help but feel shocked. There were a total of 12 human-shaped statues that were as tall as a 10-story building. The 12 statues held long black scythes in their hands, representing the authority to expel demons, slay evil spirits, and protect all living beings. The statues wore skinny dog masks on their heads, representing the ability to devour the unclean bodies of the dead and purify their souls. The black crow and hound deity were the servants of the god of death, the gods who spread slumber and death. These statues were the death hound deity. The 12 statues stood on both sides, surrounding a tall platform in the middle of the holy temple. It was a lonely platform that looked a bit like a lighthouse, but there were no stairs to go up. This was a typical structure of the Holy Church of Death. Every church of the Holy Church, only the place where God descended, can be built like this. This is the platform of Death's descent. No worshippers are allowed to climb up the platform, because that's the highest place of God, not something mortals can violate. This was explained in the clan's records. The hibernating chest of death is located on the platform of descent. If someone successfully awakens the god of death will appear on the platform, open the hibernating chest, and grant them the most precious treasure. Anna walked under the platform. She looked down. There were deep scratches on the ground, charred gray, and old black bloodstains. There were even a few skeletons in the corner. These were the efforts of the Medici clan's inheritors to beg for the god of death to descend. Anna raised her head and looked up. The platform of descent is directly held up by a stone pillar in the air, without any stairs to go up. This symbolizes the separation between God and mortals. For hundreds of thousands of years, the platform has remained silent. Never once did a god descend. Anna walked in front of the platform and prayed with both hands. The ceremony began. Anna took a deep breath and loudly chanted the incantation. The judge of good and evil, the guide of the soul, the hermit who keeps the secret of death, the god of slumber and death. Chapter 4:28. After chanting the inheritance incantation, Anna cut her wrist and let her blood drip onto the ground. The blood quickly seeped into the ground and disappeared. Anna stopped the bleeding and waited in silence for a while. It was quiet. Nothing happened. But this time, Anna was a little more patient. The ritual to summon the slumbering Grim Reaper in the shrine had always taken a full 5 hours. The 5 hours represented the birth of a life, the blossoming, the withering, the return of the soul, and the reincarnation. This was a complete process from life to death, in line with the Holy Church of Death's teachings. In these 5 hours, the summoner could do anything to attract the attention of the Grim Reaper. In history, there were people who displayed their great strength in front of the high platform. There were also people who performed evil sacrifices in an attempt to please the death god. There were even people who suddenly had the idea that only by sacrificing their own or someone else's life would the god of death come see them. They had paid a terrible price, but no one had succeeded. Therefore, these 5 hours were also known as the call of despair. Anna was very calm about this. She had never expected to wake the Grim Reaper from the very beginning, so she did nothing. After all, other than the first head of the Medici clan, countless heroes have appeared throughout history, but none of them managed to summon the god of death. Anna didn't think she was better than them. Anna stood still and waited for a while. 5 hours was indeed a little long. Anna thought for a moment, then stepped back and found a clean place to sit down. She quietly waited for the time to pass, for the ceremony to end. After all, this ceremony was something that the patriarch had to do. He could not give up halfway. Time passed slowly. Inside the divine temple, apart from the occasional crackling sound of the illuminating flames, there was no other movement. Anna didn't do anything. She didn't think of a way to wake up the Grim Reaper. She was just waiting for the 5 hours to run out. When a person watched time pass for no reason, then in his perception, time would become incomparably long. Anna had to wait for most of the night, and she didn't feel any pressure at all, so it didn't take long for her mind to wander. She was the first person in thousands of years to get distracted during the process of summoning a deity. After a long while, Anna shook her head and muttered to herself, "Such a long wait actually requires something important to pass the time." She opened her backpack. 2 bottles of hard liquor appeared in front of him. Fushi's famous wine, Imperial Deer. Anna looked at the 2 bottles of wine and smiled happily. This was the Fushi royal family's century-old liquor. The strongest in the world, second to none. It wasn't easy for her to get her hands on it, and she was even scolded by the Fushi emperor in front of everyone. Anna quickly took out a bottle of strong liquor and skillfully opened the cork. Then, she took out a beautiful thick glass with many edges from her backpack. Pour the wine. In an instant, the aroma of wine filled the air. Anna unconsciously licked the corner of her mouth and gently took a sip from the glass. This wine was very flavorful. Anna nodded in satisfaction. As expected, he still had to bring some wine down. Otherwise, he would be bored to death waiting foolishly for 5 hours. She took another swig. Time seemed to pass a little faster. An hour later, the bottle of wine was about to be emptied. Anna was in high spirits, and her mind began to wander. What kind of price did they have to pay to awaken the Grim Reaper? Forget it, I don't care anymore. In any case, others had sacrificed countless treasures and even their lives, but no one had succeeded. I wouldn't give anything. Her mind quickly turned and thought of something else. At this time, Verona should be about to be crowned. This is a good thing for the family. Verona will become the Fushi Empress, while I'll have all of the family's ancient battle techniques. This is something that no one has ever done before. After I finish this ceremony and meet up with Verona, I'll be able to take my revenge on the Pope. Thinking that, Anna's mood lightened up. She poured a full glass, raised it high, and loudly declared toward the platform of the Grim Reaper. A toast to you, the Grim Reaper that never shows himself. Saying so, she tilted her head back and downed the entire glass. That was a bit too much, so Anna couldn't help but shake her head. What was I thinking just now? Right, Gu Qing-shan. What's Gu Qing-shan doing at this time? Anna glanced at her hollow brain. It's already midnight, so Gu Qing-shan should be asleep already. It's best not to disturb his sleep at this time. Anna paused. No, it's too long. I need to talk to him. What reason should I use to wake him up? Anna glanced at the platform of the Grim Reaper. That's a good reason. She turned on her hollow brain and made a video call. The other side quickly picked up. Looking at the scene on the other side, Anna was surprised. It's the middle of the night and the 4 of you are still drinking? Liao Xing muttered. It's the middle of the night. Aren't you still drinking? Anna ignored him and told Gu Qing-shan about the Grim Reaper. Then, Su Cher suddenly appeared. So what? Anna turned off her hollow brain and smashed the bottle. You think I'm afraid of you? Once this ceremony is over, I'll kill my way there. Anna angrily shouted. No, I need to return to the Federation as soon as the ceremony is over. I need to go to Gu Qing-shan's place. Tonight, Su Cher won't be staying at the mountaintop mansion, will she? Anna's imagination ran wild. She even made up her mind to return to the Federation as soon as the ceremony is over. But she didn't know that Su Cher had already gone to Fog Isle after giving her a hard time. The ceremony. Anna glanced at her hollow brain. There's about 3 hours left. What kind of ceremony is this? Su Cher is staying at the mountaintop mansion with Gu Qing-shan, while I'm sitting here in this eerie place. The more Anna thought about it, the more annoyed she felt. She staggered to her feet and went to retrieve the bottle of wine. A 100-year-old liquor, the bottle is also very sturdy. It didn't break. Since the cork was opened, a bit of it flowed out. Anna shook the bottle. No sound came from inside. I don't remember drinking so fast. Did it all go out? Whatever. Who cares? Anna put the bottle down and opened her backpack. I still have another bottle. She sat on the ground and opened the cork. This time, she was in such a bad mood that she didn't even use a glass and drank from the bottle. How strong. She's never drunk so much of this level of liquor before. After a few more mouthfuls, Anna's face was flushed red. Her eyes were drowsy. Her head was shaking. How much time has passed? Anna turned on her hollow brain to check the time. The time hasn't changed at all. There's still 3 hours left. It's too long. After knowing that Su Cher is at the mountaintop mansion, waiting has become an unbearable task. It's all because of this damned ceremony. Otherwise, I would have already gone to the Federation. Anna's anger was growing stronger and stronger. She stood up and staggered a few steps. Then she tripped and fell to the ground. The bottle in her hand flew far away, bounced a few times on the ground, then stopped moving. Anna twisted her body, rushed forward, and caught the bottle. Fortunately, the cork was sealed, so not a single drop of liquor spilled out. Anna sighed in relief. Suddenly, she felt a different sensation on her palm. She looked at it. The skin on her hand was cut open, blood was flowing out. The size of the wound wasn't small at all, but Anna didn't feel much pain. Chapter 4:29. Anna didn't mind and swung her hand, too lazy to bandage her wound. Compared to the wound on her hand, she was more concerned about being mocked by her love rival in front of everyone than falling to the ground like that. Embark, it's all this ceremony's fault. I'm so mad. Anna shouted in annoyance. Ho! Flames spread out from her back, forming a pair of wings. Anna jumped up and flew high and low in the air. It took her a lot of effort to find the right direction. She flew up to the resting platform of death. This is the sacred and inviolable territory of the god of death. She's completely drunk. Anna stood on top of the platform that symbolizes God, looking around. Other than a broken rock, there's nothing here, Anna muttered, unaware of what she was doing. Other than a black rock that symbolizes the sleeping cache, there's nothing else here. That's right, the Holy Church of Death used this black rock to symbolize the sleeping cache. The sleeping cache is a treasure that the god of death carries with him, so of course it wouldn't actually appear here. Perhaps there were a few brave people in history who risked blasphemy and flew up to observe the resting platform of death from a close distance. But there would never be anyone like Anna, flying up to the platform in a drunken state and refusing to go down. An unprecedented scene in the history of the Medici clan had occurred. Anna sat down on top of the resting platform of death. Even though he was sitting here, he was still bored. Her feet were in the air, her hand holding the bottle of liquor, thinking, when I get to the Union, I'll first use this to put that little girl down, then use that to let her know that she can't just say whatever she wants, and finally, to leave a lasting impression on her, I'll use the ultimate technique. While she was thinking, she kept pouring liquor into her mouth. Her body was burning up, but she could feel something cold on her chest. This thing on her chest made her very uncomfortable. Anna reached inside and took out a small statue of the god of death, a life substitution contract, the only relic of the god of death that the Medici clan's ancestor obtained. Anna put it on the stone platform next to her. A sharp pain came from her hand. Ah! She screamed in pain. The skin on her hand had already been scraped off, and she hadn't treated it yet, so blood was still flowing out intermittently. As luck would have it, she grabbed the death god's keepsake and slammed it onto the stone platform. Blood gushed out from the wound on his hand and flowed down the small death god statue onto the stone platform that symbolized the sleeping treasure chest. The fresh blood, the statue of the Grim Reaper, and the sleeping treasure chest were all connected. A curious reaction took place. Invisibly, something quietly descended, silently lurking behind Anna, watching her. Anna knew nothing about it. Oh, it hurts. I'm not feeling good. She covered the wound on her hand and groaned in pain. Anna put down the bottle and rummaged through her backpack. She took out some first aid supplies and treated her hand. Her head was heavy, and Anna almost fell asleep. It's so stuffy. If only there was a little wind, she said to herself. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew from nowhere. The wind made Anna feel refreshed. She had no idea that she had already completed her deal with the Grim Reaper and obtained a gust of wind. If that was all, she would have become the worshipper who made the fewest wishes to God among countless worlds and civilizations. The invisible presence behind her was also about to dissipate. All of a sudden, Anna noticed something was wrong. Oh no, she muttered. A familiar feeling settled in her chest. She was going to throw up. She threw up just like that. Anna turned around and spat out a mouthful of liquor at the stone platform that symbolized the sleeping treasure chest. Blar, blar, so uncomfortable. Did I drink too much? While gasping for air, she took out a tissue to wipe her mouth. But unbeknownst to her, just as the invisible presence was about to leave, she vomited all over herself. The invisible presence stood still on the stone platform, not moving at all. It had never seen anything like this before, and it didn't seem to notice it at all. After throwing up, she felt a bit better. Looking around, Anna was surprised. When I get up here, this isn't a good place to sleep. I'll be done for if I fall." Saying so, Anna held the bottle of liquor and leapt down to the ground. After getting some wind, her temples started to hurt a bit. The after effects of the liquor were starting to kick in. Anna staggered back to where she was sitting. On the platform, an intense current of air was changing. The current of air came crashing down, landing not too far in front of Anna, facing her. Following the movement of the current, the 12 dog-faced giant statues that stood around the holy temple all looked down at the same time. For the first time in several thousand years, they moved. Unfortunately, no one noticed this. The current of air returned to silence, hovering in the air, glaring at Anna. "This person who offended God must be punished. HM? What is this smell?" The current of air looked down in confusion, only to see a glass of liquor that gave off an alluring aroma. "This is liquor. It's been a few thousand years since I've smelled something like this." At this point, Anna had already returned to where she was sitting. She suddenly saw a black figure licking the glass that she put on the ground. Anna's intoxicated eyes opened wide as she angrily rushed forward. She shouted, "That's my glass." The black figure was startled and took a few steps back with the glass in its mouth. Anna suddenly regained her senses and froze in place. "Aside from me, where else could there be a living being in the holy temple? Even a god can't be a living being." She patted her face, forced herself to calm down, and looked at the black figure again. "Honorable." Anna couldn't finish her words, because she finally saw that this wasn't a god. This was clearly a black dog. That's right, a dog. Why would the death god lick my glass? Anna sighed in relief. But where did this dog come from? She walked forward. The dog didn't move. She walked in front of the dog. The dog held the glass in its mouth, squinting its eyes as it stared at her. A solemn and heavy presence appeared from its body, slowly condensing into an invisible, mysterious power. This power was about to be released to make this person in front of her suffer. Just as the aura was about to be unleashed, Anna did something. She gave it the bottle of liquor in her hand. "Drink," she asked. Although she was a bit drunk, she knew that it wasn't normal for a dog to appear here. Perhaps this dog was the clue to summon the death god. Anna tapped her forehead, feeling a bit regretful. She didn't want to receive the death god's response, so she didn't bring anything. The only thing Anna had left was this bottle of liquor. It was the only thing she had left. Now, she carefully gave it to the dog. The dog looked at her, then at the bottle in her hand. A brief moment of silence. The dog couldn't help but reach out with its paw to receive the bottle. It took a big gulp from the bottle. She took another big gulp. She took another big gulp. He gulped down another mouthful. Another gulp. The dog licked its lips and happily put the empty bottle down. It glanced at Anna, then at the bandaged wound on her hand. Its nose twitched. That's right, the blood just now belonged to the Medici clan. The black dog nodded unnoticeably. But it's a contract, so it's a bit hard to make a move. This liquor isn't bad either. Should I force myself to forgive her? The dog thought. Anna waited on one side. After it finished drinking, hesitated for a bit, then finally spoke. This was the first time in thousands of years that the Medici clan had communicated with the divinity they worshipped. This was also a very rare contact between divinities in the history of humanity on this planet. Everything that happened today was enough to be recorded in history. Inside the divine temple of the death god, 12 statues with human bodies and dog faces lowered their heads, silently watching this scene. Anna looked at the black dog, her expression a bit uncertain. The overdose of alcohol had made her head heavy and her mind sluggish. But she still tried her best to think, trying to grasp the crux of the problem. In the end, Anna finally figured out her problem. She carefully observed the black dog, hesitantly asking, "Could it be?" The black dog perked up its ears, raised its tail, and stared at Anna with a serious expression. "The divine temple also has a dog hole," Anna muttered. Chapter 430. It took a while for Black Dog to calm down. It looked at the girl first. The girl looked like she had too much to drink. From the looks of it, it was obvious that its awakening was an accident. Black Dog looked at the platform. I was spat on, so in a fit of rage I broke the contract. Leaving the Sleeping Death's platform means I've entered the mortal world. But the girl is a member of the Medici clan, so she has an unbreakable connection with me. Killing her would hurt too much. I'll have to grant her one more wish before I can leave. Fine, I'll just hurry up and go back. Thinking that, Black Dog looked at the human girl again. The girl was looking around, as if trying to find a dog hole. Her eyes couldn't hold on any longer, looking like she was about to fall asleep. This alcoholic idiot. Black Dog couldn't hold back anymore. It spoke with a low voice. Woman of the Medici clan, I am the servant of the death god, the incarnation of the dog of death. Anna's body shook. She looked at Black Dog. Black Dog looked at her. For a while, neither the woman nor the dog said anything. Then, blarg, dash, Anna vomited again. Black Dog rubbed its forehead with its paw. There's no way to communicate. Really, the mortal world sent a drunkard to such a holy place. Does the Medici clan have no one else? While it was thinking, Anna muttered, You're lying, there's no such thing as a dog in the dog deity's form. Black Dog almost fainted. For the sake of its reputation, it loudly argued. Open your eyes and look carefully. Where do I look like a dog? It stood up and howled loudly, shaking the entire holy temple. Anna was drowsy. Tried to open her eyes to look at it. Doesn't look like a dog, she muttered. Black Dog turned around and reminded her, Don't you think I look like a wolf? Anna looked at it for a bit, then nodded. A wolfhound. Black Dog. It suddenly roared. Wolfhound my ass. I'm the dog deity. Stupid woman. A dark aura came from its body. Anna was startled. She already has a darkness type summoning God's chosen skill, so she's very sensitive to this kind of presence. Besides, she was just drunk. She wasn't really an idiot. Anna carefully sensed the aura, and her beautiful eyes suddenly widened. The dark aura was well suppressed by Black Dog. Only 1,000th of it leaked out. However, it was this faint aura that made Anna's soul tremble like never before. It felt as if he was an ant, and the other party was a prehistoric monster that he had never seen before. Which dog in the world could talk? How could it emit such a dark aura? It really was Inagami. Anna instantly sobered up from her drunken state. She couldn't help but wipe the cold sweat off her forehead. What was going on? I was just drinking. How did I summon the divine hound of death? It was as if he had deeply offended it. It had to be remedied immediately. At this moment, Anna's little brain returned to normal and began to work rapidly. Anna recalled everything that happened just now bit by bit. Thanks to her high intuition when it came to drinking, Anna discovered truth. Inagami seemed to love wine. Anna hurriedly reached in her backpack to search. The bag was so messy that even Anna didn't know what else was inside. She only brought 2 bottles of royal deer this time. But since she often put alcohol inside before, she took one out to drink as soon as she remembered. Please, please, gluttonous cat, don't drink everything. Leave me another bottle. Anna prayed to her past self. Right after, her hand touched something cold. She took it out to take a look. It was a very pocket-sized bottle of wine. The entire bottle was only the size of her palm. Although this type of wine couldn't compare to royal deer's age and strength, it was still a rare treasure. The taste was much softer and more lasting. Because of how rare this type of wine was, the bottle was also very small and delicate. You can say that this bottle was more to her taste, so she never drank it. And because the bottle was so small, she kept it in a vacuum freezer compartment in her backpack, never taking it out. Anna breathed a sigh of relief. Here, a greeting gift for you, she said. Blackhound looked at the bottle of liquor and coldly said, Little girl, do you think I'd want this bottle of liquor that was fermented and distilled by white jade, stored in oak barrels for 70 years, and then blended with a secret technique after it was released from the barrels to finally have an elegant, soft, and mellow taste? Black Dog tried his best to maintain a cold expression, but his tail couldn't help but wag. Anna looked at his tail and was speechless. What? He clearly wants to drink it. She put the bottle in front of Black Dog. Take it, I was a bit drunk just now, so my words and actions were a bit rude. This bottle represents my sincere apology, she said. Black Dog looked at her, then at the bottle, and finally said, If you're so sincere, I can only reluctantly accept it. Black Dog received the bottle with both paws, bit off the cap, and began to gulp it down. Do you want to mix it with anything? Anna asked. Black Dog happily drank and answered, Don't look down on me. This kind of alcohol is only interesting when it's pure, Anna praised. You're a connoisseur, not bad. Not bad, the man and dog exchanged glances, suddenly feeling like they've gotten closer. This is probably the wondrous effect of alcohol. Black Dog suddenly had a thought. He closed his eyes. In just a few seconds, everything related to the Holy Church of Death from the past few thousand years appeared in his mind. Black Dog opened his eyes, his expression a bit sorrowful. So the Medici clan really has no one left, and the Holy Church was also taken over by an outsider. He then looked at Anna. This is one of the few remaining members of the Medici clan. Black Dog's anger subsided quite a bit. His eyes also showed a bit of pity. Anna didn't know any of that, so she asked, Sir, our clan has been calling for you for several thousand years, but you never showed up. Why did you show up today? Black Dog gulped down the rest of the bottle and casually answered, I was sleeping. Sleeping for a few thousand years? An afternoon nap. Black Dog squinted his eyes and continued, You reeked of alcohol, and you puked all over the place where I was sleeping. So I had no choice but to wake up. So you're the great dog deity? The real one? Anna asked hesitantly. So you know about the term real one? That's quite surprising, Black Dog continued. A few thousand years ago, your ancestor helped the dog deity. I'm a strand of the dog deity's will, used to establish faith in this place, as well as taking care of your clan, but you've always been sleeping. Shut up. Then what do you want to do now that you're awake? I don't know yet, right? What's your wish? Please help me summon the god of death, Anna said. Why do you want to summon the god of death? Anna was a bit surprised. She tilted her head, seriously thinking about this. That's right. Why do I want to summon the god of death? She thought for a bit before answering. Every generation of our clan has been summoning this deity, perhaps to ask the god of death to grant us some benefits. The god of death is very busy. He doesn't have the time to care about insignificant mortals like you. If you want to ask for anything, just come to me, Black Dog said. You? Anna hesitantly asked. What? Are you looking down on me? I'm a very powerful person. Can you tell me? You'll find out soon enough. Now, tell me what you want to ask for, Black Dog said. He stared at Anna. She only has one wish left to make. This wish is something he has to fulfill. What I want to ask for? Anna was surprised. She tapped her forehead, a bit troubled. That's not going to be easy. I didn't want to summon the god of death, so I didn't even think about asking for anything. What the hell? Do you really need to think about something like making a wish? Black Dog lowered his head for a long time. He sighed, then spoke. Descendant of the Medici bloodline, it's very hard for me to communicate with you like this. Anna also realized and hurriedly said, I'm sorry, I'll seriously think about it right now. Almost immediately, she thought of Souchere. That's right. I'm about to go to the Union and face Souchere. With the god of death here, I might be able to scare her a bit. That's a good idea. I don't want to take her life anyways. Scaring her a bit is fine. More importantly, with the dog deity here, what can I do from now on? Anna crouched down and sincerely begged Black Dog. Great dog deity, I beg you, please follow me. Be my helper. Black Dog looked at her deeply. He shook his head. I only drank a single bottle of your wine, yet you want to make such a wish, to make me your coolie. Not coolie. I want you to be my partner, to fight alongside me, Anna hurriedly said. She clasped her hands together and begged. Great dog deity, I can't promise you anything else, but I have 2 personal wine cellars with over 1,000 bottles of fine wine in them. As long as you help me, I'll give them all to you. How about it? Black Dog's tail began to wag. He solemnly spoke. We divinities are very serious when it comes to vows. I'll agree to your request. Then that's settled. You wait here. I'm going to deal with a God's chosen card user who blasphemed the Church of Death, saying so. Black Dog disappeared without a trace. Anna was a bit surprised, then overjoyed. Chapter 431. The day the Queen ascended the throne. Three hells appeared in the human world. They were accumulating their strength, quietly waiting for the moment when they would completely descend. On this day, the Holy Church's Pope Isa died on the spot during the Fuxi Kingdom's banquet. The Fuxi Empress immediately declared Isa to be the fake pope. She seriously said that the Holy Empire will once again return to the Medici clan's embrace. The Holy Church would also reorganize itself and elect a new pope. While everyone was hesitating, the president of the Freedom Federation expressed his appreciation and acceptance. Before the luncheon ended, all the dignitaries quickly pondered the implications of this scene. The Fuxi Empire is already in Verona's hands. Other than her, there was another mysterious expert in the empire who could kill a fifth-phase expert like the defense minister in one hit. The Freedom Federation has the highest technological achievement in the world, impartial goddess. In terms of martial prowess, the Freedom Federation not only had the veteran marshal Saint Zhang Zongyang, they also had the three experts who had just killed the Pope. With these two countries expressing their intentions, the other countries would have to carefully consider their own positions. On the other hand, the Pope's death unexpectedly did not cause any great waves. The luncheon ended. The World Conference began. Scientist Gu Qingshan of the Federation launched a new product, the cultivation bracelet. The Fuxi Empress announced that as long as they used the cultivation bracelet, the God's chosen awakening serum that was previously restricted to holy apostles will be provided once for free. Including the Empire's 5 elements awakening potion and the Federation's warrior potential potion, they were all promised to be used for free. Under the persuasion of the president of the Federation and the Fuxi Empress, the world leaders all tried this technology. The entire experience was very shocking. The Fuxi Empire's bishop received the Holy Church's God's chosen awakening serum. The bishop had used the God's chosen awakening serum in front of everyone. He had awakened. Under his control, flowers bloomed on all the tables in the venue. Then, the Federation's scientist, Gu Qingshan, explained cultivation. When everyone found out that they could greatly increase their lifespan through cultivation, everyone's emotions were ignited. Marshal Saint Zhang Zongyang publicly admitted that he had started cultivating. He used the lifespan detector in front of everyone. The upper limit of his lifespan was 150 years. The leaders of many countries did not believe it and changed several instruments, but the results were still the same. In front of the truth, all of his worries and doubts were no longer valid. After just half an hour of intense discussion, all the governments around the world reached an agreement on a few key issues. At the end of the meeting, the leaders of the various countries announced that they would promote the cultivation bracelet worldwide. From this day onwards, the cultivation bracelet would gradually become common, and everyone would obtain the equal right to evolve. Impartial Goddess began to use the relevant resources from all over the world to produce the God's Chosen Awakening Serum, Martial Artist Potential Growth Serum, and Elementalist Awakening Serum. As for the cultivation bracelet, Impartial Goddess had already started production. With the support of every country, Impartial Goddess will speed up her pace, striving to cover the entire world with the cultivation bracelet. All of this was to fight against the apocalypse. Fuxi Capital City, a famous bar. The bar was closed today and not open to the public. Dozens of the most powerful underground organizations in the world had gathered here. Zhang Yongho was talking about cultivation. Yi Feili stood behind him, holding a box of ice cream and eating it slowly with a small spoon. Since we can get the medicine for free and extend our lifespan, I don't think anyone will object to this, Zhang Yongho said at the end. The dozens of leaders of the underground organizations silently nodded. A bald man with tattoos all over his body spoke. Zhang Brat, I heard you're also involved in this. That's right. I'm a partner, Zhang Yongho answered without hesitation. The bald man smiled. Such a good business. How about I, your brother, get a share as well? You misunderstand. The only benefit of doing this is that the scripture's author will be able to create cultivation scriptures for the people around me. Other than that, there are no other benefits, I know. It's the scientist Gu Qingshan, isn't it? The bald man said, carefully observing Zhang Yongho's expression. I admit, the three of you were able to kill the Pope, "That's impressive." The bald man looked around and said to everyone, "But business is business. This kind of thing can only be done with the backing of powerful forces like us." Someone else followed up, "The rule is that each person in the world is limited to one vial. But if we manage it and keep a portion of it for ourselves, the profits will be more than enough for us to split." Someone else added, "According to my information, these medicines are all in Gu Shan's hands. I feel like there's more room for this kind of cooperation." Everyone else thought about it and agreed. At that moment, everyone looked at Jang Young-ho with an indescribable look in their eyes. They were like starving wolves that saw flesh and blood. Jang Young-ho sighed, then told the bald man, "Brother Luo, I advise you not to mess with that scientist. His temper is actually quite bad. Also, you have to stop your human trafficking business and release all the people." The bald man asked, "Why is that?" "Because the apocalypse has already arrived. Every single person is a precious fighting force. Who knows? One of your slaves might be able to cultivate and give birth to a few geniuses with extraordinary strength. Then, what benefits do I get?" "The benefit is your life," Jang Young-ho replied. The bald man couldn't help but chuckle. He tilted his head. "You think you can steal my rice bowl with nothing but empty words? Do you want to die, Zhang Brat?" The bald man leaned forward and spoke in a low voice. "That Gu Shan might be quite strong, but people like us will always have a way to kidnap the people around him. He'll come crying to me." After saying so, his head fell to the ground. The leader of the world's human trafficking business died, just like that on the spot. From the void of space, a sword lightly swung through the air before returning to Jang Young-ho's back. All the leaders of the underworld were enraged. "You dare! Dash, you're courting death. You've crossed the line. If you break the rules, you're done for." Several figures leapt forward, heading straight for Jang Young-ho. Jang Young-ho crossed his legs and didn't move at all. The blood-red glow enveloped Jang Young-ho. Several attacks collided with the blood-red light and disappeared without a trace. "Please return to your seats." Yifei Li smiled as she scooped up some ice cream with a small spoon. Clusters of blood-red light struck the figures in the air. The few of them flew back in a sorry state and landed on their seats. The audience was silent. This move had successfully shocked everyone. Jang Young-ho continued, "It's not just human trafficking. The drug trade should also be stopped. As for the prostitution business, unless someone is willing to give up, no one can force a girl to do anything they don't like." He shrugged. "From now on, we're all cultivators. We'll have to call each other fellow Tao Seeker. No one is allowed to cheat fellow Tao Seeker." An old man coldly scoffed. "You have the advantage today, but who do you think will listen to you after this?" He suddenly felt a chill on his neck. Looking down, he saw a sword hovering right next to his neck. The sword suddenly disappeared. The old man shut his mouth. His back was covered in a layer of cold sweat. Not just him, but all the big shots of the underground world here didn't see how the sword appeared and disappeared. Everyone exchanged glances. Jang Young-ho put his hollow brain on the table. "Listen to this," he said. The hollow brain lit up. A melodious female voice rang out. "Greetings, everyone. I am Impartial Goddess. I will now announce the Skyfire Descent Plan. Regarding Mr. Jang Young-ho's request, please cooperate as one. Otherwise, I will use the S.W. Xiongwu Interstellar Fortress to directly attack the target from space. Please do not doubt my AI. As a reminder, all the central processing units of the world's countries have been connected to me from today onwards. If you want to continue living in the human world, please be friends with me. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Goodbye." The hollow brain went dark. Jang Young-ho lit a cigarette and took a deep drag. He stood up, still holding the cigarette in his mouth as he walked around the room. The hovering sword wanted to follow him, but he waved his hand to stop it. Just like that, he walked past each of the big shots of the underground world without any warning. Not a single one of them attacked him. This seems to be some sort of ritual of the underground world. Jang Young-ho returned unscathed. He told the sword, "You can leave now." A voice came from the sword. "You're not done here. Although our meeting is a bit heated, your presence here is affecting the atmosphere," Jang Young-ho said. The sword disappeared in an instant. Jang Young-ho crouched down in front of the bald man's corpse. using his hand to smooth his eyes. He stood up, his fingers passing over everyone's body. In front of that sword, do you feel how small you are? Do you feel the fear of death? He asked. Chapter 432. Without a sound, a new era has arrived. After the World Conference, Impartial Goddess immediately started the program. 4 p.m. The first cultivation live stream to the world began. The first cultivation bracelet. User has finished preparing. She's about to start a cultivation live stream in front of everyone in the world. The reason why she was chosen as the first user was because of her popularity worldwide, as well as her unwavering charity work for the disaster-stricken areas of various countries over the past few years. The world's most popular celebrity, Xie Shuangyan. In front of the live broadcast camera, her pure and moving appearance was especially attractive. Impartial Goddess, I want to ask if I use the serum, but don't awaken my martial artist, God's chosen, or elementalist talents. Can I still cultivate? She asked. Of course, everyone can cultivate. It's just that the speed is different according to their talent, Impartial Goddess answered. Then, I have no more questions, Xie Shuangyan said. She put on the silver bracelet. The first human user is about to begin cultivation. Xie Shuangyan, are you sure you want to use the cultivation bracelet? Impartial Goddess voice came. Xie Shuangyan nodded. I'm sure. 3 to 1. Cultivation begins. The silver bracelet lit up. A holographic projection appeared, turning the entire room into a sea of clouds. A feather dress appeared on Xie Shuangyan's body, fluttering in the wind, looking like a fairy descending from the heavens. This is how female cultivators in the cultivation world dress, but it was used by Gu Qingshan in reality. Xie Shuangyan is already a top-notch beauty. Wearing this feather dress, her beauty is unforgettable. Just this opening scene alone was enough to shock countless people. Hello, Xie Shuangyan. What kind of profession are you interested in becoming? Impartial Goddess voice came. Following her voice, 3 patterns appeared in front of Xie Shuangyan. A 5-elemental pattern, a prayer pattern, and a martial artist punching. I want to become a God's chosen, Xie Shuangyan instinctively said. Impartial Goddess answered. Every human has a free chance to choose a profession. Would you like to use it? What happens after I choose? I will use a miniature warp technology to send a bottle of God's chosen awakening serum in front of you. You must use it on the spot. What if I didn't awaken the first time and wanted to use another bottle? You'll need to make enough contributions to human society. You can use your contribution points to exchange for it. Xie Shuangyan rolled her eyes and said, Forget it. I want to cultivate for a period of time and understand what I am truly good at before choosing a profession. Is that okay? Of course. In fact, it's even better this way. Please help me begin my cultivation. Impartial Goddess began to explain. The first stage of cultivation is Qi training. You will obtain the basic Qi training technique. I will monitor your cultivation progress and plan and adjust your cultivation career. In addition, if you want to obtain a high-level cultivation technique, you must make a corresponding contribution. Now let's proceed to the first step, Qi Training Stage 1. Currently transmitting Qi Training Stage 1 technique to you. I'm explaining the essentials of the incantation to you. Please follow the contents of the technique and attempt to cultivate it. All right. Xie Shuangyan looked at the lines of words floating in front of her, and then looked at the explanation below. Even someone like her was curious about such a strange thing. She thought for a moment, closed her eyes, and began to cultivate according to the essentials of the incantation. A few minutes later, Xie Shuangyan opened her eyes. Is that so? She asked. On her hand, a white light appeared out of thin air. It was a power he had never seen before. Xie Shuangyan was silently surprised. Impartial Goddess spoke. Congratulations, you've reached Qi Training Stage 1. Next, the incantation for Qi Training Stage 2. Another section of the incantation appeared. Still not a lot. Xie Shuangyan closed her eyes and continued to cultivate according to the incantation. Luckily for a beauty like her, even if people stared at the screen, they wouldn't feel bored. A few minutes later, Xie Shuangyan raised her hand. Her entire hand was glowing. Is that so? She asked. Impartial Goddess checked it, then answered, "Congratulations, you have reached Chi Training Stage 2. Next, the incantation for Chi Training Stage 3. Chi Training Stage 3. Xie Shuang Yin broke through again. Impartial Goddess went silent for a few moments, then spoke. Continuous breakthroughs will affect your foundation. Please follow the incantation for the first 3 stages to stabilize your cultivation. Ah, all right, Xie Shuang Yin regretfully said. But now, she could already control some small objects to fly back and forth with a wave of her hand. She thought for a bit, then waved her hand. A glass flew from afar and landed in her hand. Xie Shuang Yin took the glass and took a sip of water. She looked at the screen and asked, "I heard that when you reach a high enough realm, you can increase your lifespan?" Indeed, after Qi training is Foundation Establishment. Foundation Establishment's lifespan is 150 years, Impartial Goddess answered. After that, Golden Core Realm 500 years. Xie Shuang Yin was stunned, then muttered, "That's a lot." Aside from lifespan, the power you wield will greatly increase your attack power. At Qi training stage, it'll increase by about 20%. Is that so? Xie Shuang Yin was interested. This time, she was really interested. She smiled at the screen. All right, today's live stream will end here. Please experience the rest for yourselves. The live stream ended. The entire planet was in an uproar. Lifespan, profession is power. Everyone seemed to have gone mad, craving for the cultivation bracelet. 6 p.m. Hell was still slowly descending. The governments of the various countries announced that they will officially distribute the cultivation bracelet to all citizens. The cost of a starter serum will be covered by the governments. The materials used to make the bracelet will also be provided by the governments. But everyone must sign an agreement to serve their country, contribute to humanity's cultivation, and obey orders to fight against the apocalypse. Those who break the agreement will lose their right to use the bracelet forever. From the very first day of the cultivation era, it had already reached its climax. The mountaintop mansion. Everyone had returned, sitting on the sofa to rest. Gu Qingshan looked at the time. Huang Quan's reinforcements are about to arrive. There's something wrong with that Xie Shuang Yin chick, Liao Xing suddenly said. What is it? Gu Qingshan asked. She only needs to close her eyes, and she's already at Qi training stage 3. It took me quite a bit of effort, Liao Xing angrily said. All right, she's talented. You're also quite talented, but you can't compare yourself to others, Gu Qingshan smiled and said. He thought for a bit, then said, but I still need to make it clear to everyone that they shouldn't use Xie Shuang Yan standards. Understood, Sir Impartial Goddess replied. Also, you killed the Pope, and the Empress only gave you a shitty medal. Liao Xing pointed at the medal in Zhang Yongho's hand and scoffed. This isn't a shitty medal, Zhang Yongho pridefully said. This is a special medal given by the Empress. With this, we don't need to spend any credits to use the Fuxi Empire's facilities or resources. The Empire will pay for us. Liao Xing was a bit surprised, then asked, Then, can I lend it to others? I'm sorry, but there's an ID chip inside the medal. No one else can use it. How boring, Liao Xing begrudgingly said. Impartial Goddess suddenly asked, Sir, I've noticed that a lot of the resources needed for high-level cultivation are products that need to be further processed, like the pills recorded in the scriptures. I can't make them. How do I solve this problem? Let's just wait and see. Gu Qingshan didn't mind. When more and more people reach Foundation Establishment Realm, this problem will probably be solved. Very well, Impartial Goddess answered. Impartial Goddess didn't need to ask, but Liao Xing couldn't help himself. This is a big problem. How do you plan to solve it? He asked. Just wait and see, Gu Qingshan answered. Tell me, don't keep me guessing, Liao Xing complained. Gu Qingshan smiled. I'm not guessing. I'm just afraid you'll go crazy if you hear it. Just tell me. I won't go crazy, all right? If we can get through this crisis, I'll find a time to fuse the 2 worlds into one, Gu Qingshan said. No, it should be the fusion of 3 worlds, he continued. He went silent, then seemed to have remembered something as faint killing intent rose from his body. Chapter 433. Gu Qingshan leaned back on his chair, lightly swirling a glass of iced liquor in his hand. As long as the worlds fuse, the problem of cultivation resources will be easily solved. The 6 arts will quickly become part of people's daily lives. As for the issue of fairness between worlds, after a bit of thought, he continued, with my identity, I can naturally guarantee that this world will receive a relatively fair future. Join a sect, or serve the country, or become a free rogue cultivator. Everyone has the right to choose. Liao Xing was stunned. He's a smart person, so he understood every single word Gu Qingshan said. Because of that, Liao Xing couldn't believe it at all. Gu Qingshan must have been to another world. He had an illustrious status in that world. He knows how to fuse worlds. He's prepared to turn 2 worlds into one. From Gu Qingshan's personality, as well as his current tone and expression, Liao Xing can tell that he's telling the truth. Liao Xing asked in disbelief, multiple worlds? You're saying that there are other worlds? Gu Qingshan smiled. If there are so many unimaginable cultivation scriptures, surely you don't think that they just popped out of nowhere. Hearing that, Liao Xing and Zhang Yongho both felt that it was only natural, but also inconceivable. It was only natural because everything that Gu Qingshan brought out was a complete system. With their knowledge, they naturally understood that without at least a few hundred or even a few thousand years of development, it would be impossible to form such a complete and mature cultivation system. Unless they're a god, no one would be able to do such a thing. They were very sure that Gu Qingshan wasn't a god, so the answer was obvious. But they still didn't believe that answer. Now that Gu Qingshan admitted it himself, even if they wanted to pretend that they didn't know, they couldn't. Zhang Yongho didn't say anything, but now he couldn't help but speak up. You're saying that other than our world, there are other worlds? He asked. There are, but not just another world, not just the other one. Zhang Yongho repeated. Yes, I don't know exactly how many worlds there are. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit. Let me calculate. Our world, the cultivation world, Shenwu world, and the world that I'm about to go to. That's right, that world is about to end. Many people in that world are escaping to other worlds, so there are at least a few other worlds. Zhang Yongho and Liao Xing were stunned. Liao Xing slapped his face with his hands and said, I need to calm down, I need to calm down. The door suddenly opened. Yi Feili retracted her bone wings and walked in. I'm exhausted, he said, plopping down on the sofa. How's the situation in the desert? Gu Qingshan asked. The individual strength of those giants is not bad, and the formation they built is also very powerful. Even I had to spend a lot of effort to escape, Yi Feili said. After a moment of silence, he asked tentatively, Are they also immortal? That's right, Gu Qingshan answered. Even I'm having so much trouble dealing with them. No one else is a match for them. Seems like this world is done for. Yi Feili closed her eyes. Zhang Yongho worriedly said, Unless everyone breaks through at Xie speed, there's no way we'll be able to deal with hell. That's right, even with the cultivation bracelet. Humanity has only just started cultivating. It's impossible to win against these immortal monsters, Gu Qingshan sighed. He looked at the war god UI. Huang Quan reinforcements will arrive in 1 hour and 5 minutes. Reinforcements will arrive soon. What will they be? Gu Qingshan was a bit nervous. He sent his voice through inner sight and asked the Earth Sword. Earth Sword, I remember you once said that you hid in the space vortex for a very long time. That's right, I hid in the space vortex for 10,000 years, the Earth Sword replied. You've existed for so long. Had you ever been to Huang Quan? I did pass by the outside once, but it was only for a short time, so I didn't go too deep. What's the outside of Huang Quan like? Within the space vortex, there's a dark cave. At the time, I only hid in there for a while before leaving. I heard that you'll need to go through this giant cave to reach Huang Quan. Gu Qingshan suddenly thought of a more important question. If the reinforcements were really that strong, they should have already dealt with the problem of hell in Huang Quan. Why would they let the dead from hell roam the human realm? Shaking his head, he gave up on thinking. Fine, they'll be here soon. Let's talk about it after we meet. Time slowly passed. 1 hour passed. Ting. The system notification sounded. A few lines of glowing text appeared on the War God UI. Huang Quan reinforcements will arrive soon. Due to the player's previous heroic actions, successfully stopping the frozen hell's rapid expansion, reinforcements will first meet you. Please find an empty place to meet the Huang Quan reinforcements for the first time. After reading through, Gu Qing-shan stood up and left. Where are you going? Zhang Young-ho asked. I'm going to meet a few people who should be our business partners. Do you want to come take a look? Gu Qing-shan asked. Business partners? Why didn't I know that we have a new business partner? All right, of course I'll meet them. Zhang Young-ho stood up. Yifei Li and Liao Xing were also very interested. The four of them left the mansion. The sky had already darkened. Nightfall. Where are we going to meet our new business partners? Zhang Young-ho asked. Gu Qing-shan looked around. Outside the villa on the mountain was an empty field. Before, to prove the power of her spirit energy, Gu Qing-shan had fought against Anna here for a short period of time. We'll just wait in the empty field, he said. Everyone nodded, expressing that they understood. So it was the other party who personally came to visit. Obviously, the other party is someone important. Otherwise, Gu Qing-shan wouldn't have come out to greet them like this. Who exactly is it? With that question in mind, they all went to the empty field. Gu Qing-shan glanced at the war god UI. Reinforcements will arrive in 1 minute. Gu Qing-shan looked at the three people next to her and said, The reason why I'm telling you about the world today is because what's about to happen next might shatter your understanding of it. The other three exchanged glances, feeling nervous. Liao Xing covered his eyes with his hand and said, I've had enough. Damn it. I should go get drunk right now. Who's coming? Yifei Li asked with interest. I don't know what it is either, but they're probably here to help us, Gu Qing-shan answered. The war god UI returned to 0 at the last minute. They're here, Gu Qing-shan said. The four of them looked around at the same time. There was nothing. In the darkness of the night, there was suddenly light. Up there, Zhang Young-ho said. A gigantic glowing scroll appeared in the sky. It slowly floated down, slowly unfurling itself in front of Gu Qing-shan's group. The surface of the scroll was a bit yellowed. The edges were worn and tattered. Even the center of the scroll had a few small yellowish black holes, as if someone used smoke to burn them. In short, this scroll looks like it's been through countless years. The center of the scroll was originally empty. As the scroll slowly unfurled, 2 large blood-red words appeared on it. Warning! Seeing these 2 words, the 4 of them tensed up. Following that, lines of text appeared. If you're a newcomer to hell, this warning is for you. When you see these words, it's obvious that you're a scum, someone who's wasted a lot of opportunities to be kind to others. Do you have nothing better to do every day? Is your life so empty that you don't have anything else to do besides doing bad things? Or are you a guy who only follows what others say, does what others tell you to do, and doesn't dare to go against the boss of your own gang? Buddy, your life is so terrible. Let me ask you one last time. In your short or long life, can't you do anything else other than doing bad things? Very well. Please enjoy the endless pain of hell. When you're alive again, please don't be a mediocre person and don't masturbate in front of your computer anymore. Please leave your room, make more friends, see more of the world, find the things you want to do, and start working hard to prove that your life has meaning. Swear that you won't live a good life or voluntarily throw yourself into hell's embrace. Now, we've warned you. Come to hell to suffer and repent, then begin your journey once again. Reading the words on the paper, the 4 of them fell into thought. Chapter 434. Damn it. This has nothing to do with me. This is for the bastards who are about to go to hell, Liao Xing replied. We're still in the human realm. Why are you warning us? Yifei Li was confused. Looking at the scroll, the 4 of them were a bit confused. Suddenly, a voice full of power came. My apologies, this is indeed the opening line of hell, but we don't really know how to write lines, so we didn't change the content. The 4 of them looked around, but aside from the scroll floating in front of them, there was nothing else. Who are you? Gu Qing-shan asked. The voice spoke. Please move aside. I'm currently descending. I won't be able to save anyone if I crush them to death. The 4 of them retreated quite a bit. A few moments later, a loud explosion could be heard. Thick smoke rose. It seemed like something had really appeared. A few moments later, the smoke scattered. There was something that looked like a fridge in the middle of the empty space. Not really a fridge, as this thing was a bit bigger than a fridge. Looking at its shape, it looked like a large coin-operated game console. There was light coming from the machine, as well as the faint sound of a passionate song. If one listened carefully, they would find that it was countless voices singing hymns together. The machine was completely black, with a large one on the side. "Young ones, you've done well. The frozen hell can't be fully activated for now," the machine praised. "Who are you?" Guqing Shan asked again. "I am the Prayers Trial Machine, an office terminal from Huang Quan." The machine introduced itself. "Nice to meet you." Guqing Shan wiped the sweat off her forehead and greeted it. So this was the reinforcements. The Prayers Trial Machine let out a rumbling sound. "Do you have any dissatisfaction towards this world? Is there any kind of injustice or oppression in this world? If any of those problems occur, please talk to me immediately." "Wait a minute. Let me ask you, did you come from Huang Quan?" Guqing Shan asked. "Without a doubt, I did." Guqing Shan evaluated it. "You don't look like something from Huang Quan. To increase the efficiency of Huang Quan's work, we're currently moving towards automated work, and I'm one of the representative products," the Prayers Trial Machine answered. Guqing Shan could only convince herself to believe this. He changed his approach and said, "All right, since it's Huang Quan, then there must be an existence in charge of it, yes. Then why are you here? Where are they?" "It's all over." "It's over? What happened?" Guqing Shan asked. "This is related to Huang Quan's internal affairs, so I can't tell you. In short, the only ones left in Huang Quan that can help humanity are us automatons, you guys." Guqing Shan asked keenly, "There are other machines besides you?" The Prayers Trial Machine replied, "Of course, other than me, there's also the Hell Transfer Machine, the Sea of Suffering Machine, the Sinner's Repent Machine, the Anger Cleansing Machine, and so on. We have a total of 88 machines," it continued. 88 units, my God. Actually, I also feel that the number of personnel is a bit too high. "You guys have different roles?" Liao Xing asked. "Smart." The Prayers Trial Machine looked at him and spoke. "I am a machine used by the divinities for general entertainment. There are also other machines responsible for fighting, cleaning machines responsible for expanding the underworld. Anyway, there are a total of 88 machines." "Why 88? Is there a meaning to it?" Zhang Youngho asked. The Prayers Trial Machine sighed and answered, "Because one of our divinities is very superstitious and thinks that this number is good. By the way, this divinity was the first one to get 88 during the calamity." Guqing Shan looked around. A cold breeze blew past. The only thing left was the Prayers Trial Machine in front of the four of them. He asked, "Where are your good friends?" "They're still preparing. They'll be arriving soon. Don't mind them. Tell me about the current calamity." The Prayers Trial Machine let out a rumbling voice and continued, "We might be able to think of a way to help your world overcome this crisis. Can you really do that?" Yi Feili asked with uncertainty. "Don't look down on us." The Prayers Trial Machine puffed out its chest. "We're the newest product of Huang Quan's industrial revolution. Our laws are powerful enough to help the divinities govern Huang Quan, as well as help them deal with all matters of hell." Following its explanation, Guqing Shan's group exchanged glances. All of them appeared glad. If it really is that powerful, then there's hope for this world. "Esteemed Prayers Trial Machine, then I'll be frank, we have 3 hells here," Guqing Shan curtly told them. "It's over. I can't help you." The Prayers Trial Machine sighed. Guqing Shan, Zhang Youngho, Yi Feili, Liao Xing couldn't help but curse. "You're fucking joking, aren't you?" The Prayers Trial Machine replied, "Of course not. I really can't solve this problem, but the Hell Transfer Machine's function is to transport the sinful dead to the various hells. You can cooperate with it and transport the trash of the 3 hells to the other hells. That way, the crisis will be eliminated," the Prayers Trial Machine said. "But there are a lot of monsters in the 3 hells. Will that Hell Transfer Machine really work?" Yi Feili asked. "Of course, it's a bit like your train. As long as you stuff the dead inside, they'll be bound and unable to leave the Hell Transfer Machine. After that, once the carriages of the Hell Transfer Machine are filled with the dead, It'll activate and transport the dead back to Huang Quan and throw them into the other hells, Jang Young-ho muttered. Stuff the dead inside. In other words, we'll have to win against the dead to send them back to hell. 3 hells. That's an astronomical number of dead. How are we supposed to fight them all? Liao Xing asked. We still have to fight, even if we can't. Seems like that's the only way, Gu Qing-shan mused. While they were discussing, an earth-shattering explosion came from the void of space. A few carriages and a train appeared out of nowhere and fell to the ground. The raging fire burned fiercely on the carriages and locomotives. Soon, they were burned into a pile of scrap metal. Ah, not good. Seems like the hell transfer machine didn't manage to come to the human realm, the prayers trial machine said. How did that happen? Wasn't this thing supposed to help us? Jang Young-ho loudly asked. Our trip to the human realm wasn't that smooth, the prayers trial machine answered. What was attacking you? Gu Qing-shan asked in a low voice. I can't say, the prayers trial machine answered. Everyone exchanged looks, walked forward, and carefully checked the wreckage of the train on the ground. This is the hell transfer machine? Can we fix it? Liao Xing asked. Only the divinity that created it would be able to fix it, the prayers trial machine answered. In other words, we've lost our only hope? Jang Young-ho asked. No. There are actually many other machines that have various methods, the prayers trial machine answered. What methods? Please tell me everything at once, Gu Qing-shan asked. The prayers trial machine went silent. It clumsily moved its body and looked around. In this empty space, other than Gu Qing-shan's group of 4, there was nothing else. There were no roads here. Desolate and uninhabited. Only the cold wind could be felt. The prayers trial machine spoke. Seems like I made a mistake. I need to start my business right away in order to form a close connection with this world. Otherwise, I'll be rejected by the human realm and have no choice but to return to Huang Quan. It looked at Gu Qing-shan's group of 4. I'll first take on a business deal and settle down. Then I'll talk to you in detail. All right, Gu Qing-shan sighed. I hope you can hurry up. After all, hell's invasion speed is only increasing. Don't worry, I'll be back very soon. With a loud bam, the prayers trial machine split into 2. One of them disappeared without a trace. Everyone exchanged glances. Liao Xing, I say, you can even create clones. With another loud noise, the second prayers trial machine returned and appeared in front of them. Chapter 435. The Holy Empire. This was the area where the frozen hell erupted. Although most of the monsters had been cleaned up, the ice and snow still remained. The weather was also slowly changing. Nighttime, the slums. Everyone who needed to rest had already rested. Icy rain was falling from the sky, and the cold wind blew through the deserted streets, making whistling sounds. The roads were slippery and slippery. Almost no one was there. On a night like this, you couldn't even find a target to rob. The gang members had all retreated back to their nightclubs, casinos, bars, drinking themselves into oblivion. In the dead end of the slums, a brand new, shiny machine suddenly appeared. It looked like a vending machine, but also like a video game console. The machine was jet black with a large one painted on the side. The prayers trial machine. It had been changed a bit. Inside a layer of transparent glass, there were cans, snacks, and tightly packed instant lunchboxes filled to the brim. For the starving poor people, this was undoubtedly a timely help. In the past few minutes, 2 groups of homeless people and poor people had already tried to destroy it, trying to break the glass to get the food inside. But the machine was still intact. The homeless people were all lying on the ground, moaning in pain. After they helped each other up and left, a group of teenagers appeared at the corner of the street. Look, they can't destroy that food machine, one of them said. Let's go. Maybe we'll have to rely on it for tonight's dinner, another said. They surrounded the pitch-black prayers trial machine. Destruction and attack began. Every time they launched a ferocious attack, they would definitely suffer the same damage. A few moments later, they were just like the 2 groups of homeless people from before, lying on the ground. The prayers trial machine was still intact. What the fuck? What the hell is this thing? One of the teenagers rubbed his stomach and cursed. His friends didn't say anything, only caring about the pain. The prayer's trial machine suddenly let out a rumbling noise. Although you were rude before, since you asked, I'll tell you, a burst of passionate music began to play. The god of Huang Quan was merciful to satisfy the wishes of living beings. He created me. That's right, I'm the great entertainer of the old gods. I am the cold prayer's trial machine. Silence reigned. The teenagers exchanged glances. The machine can talk. It was obviously different from the usual electronic language. It seemed to have its own consciousness. In the dark night, such a thing appeared out of nowhere. This was really strange. The group of children from the slums stood up silently, supporting each other as they staggered forward. Whatever this is, it's best to stay away from it. Having made up their minds, they walked faster than usual. However, the last little boy did not give up. He said hatefully, "Since you are God's benevolence, then take out your food and let us eat it." "I'm sorry," the prayer's trial machine rumbled. "There's no such thing as a free lunch." "What the hell?" The little boy gritted his teeth and asked, "Then what can you do?" "Justice. Judgment of evil. As long as you have such a wish, I can do it for you," the prayer's trial machine said. The little boy was stunned. He was only 11 years old this year, but his family did not have the money for him to learn a skill, nor did they have the means to pave the way for his future. Only his grandmother was left at home, and she was seriously ill in bed. Therefore, he could only wander the streets and make friends with others like him, stealing as a source of income. "If that's the case, then you're a very high-tech thing," the little boy concluded. "In your words, I'm actually black technology," the prayer's trial machine said. The little boy's friends came back, wanting to pull him away. The little boy angrily said, "Bullshit. If you really are black technology, then kill Max if you have the guts." Max was the mafia boss of this area. All drug dealing, human trafficking, robbery, and murder, as well as taking over the market, he was the one who called the shots. The parents of this group of children had all suffered because of this person, and some of them had even paid with their lives. The little boy was an orphan. His father was a straightforward person who refused to submit, so Max found an opportunity to kill him, while his mother was also sold. The prayer's trial machine spoke. "I can't just casually kill an innocent person." Hearing that, the children all burst out in laughter. "No. Innocent. Max is innocent. That's the funniest joke I've heard this year. This machine, there must be something wrong with its AI." The little boy's eyes showed deep disappointment. But the prayer's trial machine spoke. "If you're willing to let him be judged and find out that he's an evil person, I'll think of a way to kill him. Are you willing to let me judge him?" "Of course we are," the little boy shouted. His friends also spoke. "We are willing. We are willing." "Very well, then please give me your blood," the prayer's trial machine spoke. All was quiet. The prayer's trial machine explained, "The blood of living beings is tainted with a small amount of prayers. Only prayers can operate this machine." "Let's go. This is a strange thing," the little boy's friend said. They pulled the little boy and quickly left. The street returned to silence. Not too long later, the little boy once again stood in front of the prayer's trial machine. He wiped the rainwater off his face and asked, "Can I really do justice?" "Yes, as long as you give me your blood," the prayer's trial machine answered. "How much?" "I'm guessing you're dealing with a sinful person, so you have to use the ultimate judgment. How much?" "Just like I said, you'll need quite a bit of blood because blood contains bits and pieces of prayers. How much?" The little boy was trembling, his eyes filled with desire. In this dark and miserable fate, the little boy wanted a ray of light. Even if this was most likely a prank, he was willing to give it a try. The prayer's trial machine let out a ray of light that scanned through the little boy's bony body. After a while, the prayer's trial machine sighed. "You are our first customer in this world, so you only need a symbolic drop of blood," it said. The little boy sighed in relief and said, "I'm willing to give you this drop of blood. You're a great young man, willing to fight against evil. Now, put your hand on the black area on my left. Is that so?" "Yes, that's so done." The little boy pulled his hand back and carefully looked at it. There was no wound. He didn't feel anything just now. Indeed, it was only a single drop of blood. Even a little boy who hadn't eaten for an entire day would be able to take it. The prayer's trial machine let out a series of rumbling noises. I got my first drop of blood. It spoke in a low voice. Esteemed customer, please state the sinner you want to judge, as well as his identity. The little boy shouted expectantly, Max, the boss of the gang, Max. The prayer's trial machine let out a series of rumbling noises. The trial is about to begin. It spoke with a solemn tone of voice. As this is the opening trial, it needs to be treated with utmost caution. Currently searching for this world's trial method, the most eye-catching trial method in this world has been found. Using the world hollow brain to broadcast the trial live. Currently selecting this world presiding judge, the most feared presiding judge of this world has been found. Inviting the murder clown to take part in the opening trial. Pay the corresponding price. The murder clown has agreed. Now, the trial shall begin. On the entire planet, all the instruments that could display images lit up at this moment. The scene of the murder clown judging the champion of Eternal once again appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Wearing a cold and stiff smiling clown mask, a jet black armor, a pair of black wings of light on its back. As the murder clown walked out from the darkness, a spotlight shone on it. The clown put its hand in front of its mouth and whispered, I found a new job. It nervously looked around, sighing in relief after a while. Taking out a crumpled piece of paper from somewhere, the murder clown spread it open and read. Then, tonight's guest is Max, the Holy Empire's Max. The clown started to seriously clap. Someone suddenly appeared next to it. A man with slick back hair, wearing a black vest, a hooked nose, a black beard, and a glass of liquor in his hand. The mafia boss, Max. As soon as Max appeared, he was clearly surprised. The murder clown. He looked at the clown and gulped. Max reached his hand into his chest to take something out. A second later, he realized what kind of existence he was facing. His hand froze, then forced a smile. What do you want, sir? The murder clown grabbed his hand and held it tightly. The clown spoke. Congratulations, I really want to chat with you for a bit longer, but our live stream time is limited and we don't have any sponsors, so we'll start the trial right now. Max's wonderful life is about to begin. Please watch. The screen changed. All the evil deeds Max has done in his life were shown on the screen. Fighting, robbing, murder, selling women and children, collecting protection fees, taking drugs and selling drugs, opening a casino, cheating, killing entire families. All the atrocities that made people's hair stand on end, all the inhumane crimes he committed, all of them were shown on the screen. Each scene lasted for a few seconds, telling the audience the whole story of his crimes. It took several minutes for the image on the screen to disappear completely. The murder clown and Max once again appeared in front of everyone. The murder clown let go of his hand and spoke. According to Mr. Max's crimes, we found a most suitable classical punishment for him. 5 ropes flew out, tying around Max's hands, legs, and neck. The ropes were quickly tied into a dead knot. The other end of the ropes disappeared into the darkness, no end in sight. Damn it! What the hell is going on here? Max tried to break free. The more he struggled, the tighter the ropes became. The ropes became tighter and tighter, until Max couldn't even move anymore. His body was stretched out in the shape of a held in place by the ropes. Now, time is up to everyone, the murder clown spoke. Please begin the voting. Those in favor of Max's death, please spend a drop of blood to vote for him to die. All right, of course you can vote a few more times. As soon as the murder clown finished speaking, a red number appeared in front of Max's chest. Below the red number was a stopwatch that didn't move. The murder clown explained. Every time the red number increases by 1, it means that someone has spent a drop of blood to wish for Mr. Max's death. Within 3 minutes, if the red number reaches 1 million, Mr. Max will receive the classical punishment of being torn apart by a car. Now, the countdown begins. The stopwatch began to tick. In reality, a notification appeared in front of everyone. Are you willing to use your blood to decide the death of Mafia Boss Max? A few people were cautious and didn't pay any attention to the prayer's trial machine. But a lot more people didn't think that way. Max's entire life was filled with evil, committing countless crimes that would anger even the heavens. Any normal person would be filled with righteous indignation if they saw it. There would always be people who didn't know him who didn't mind spending a drop of blood to vote for him to die. Around the world. Peh. Scum like him deserves to die. Old man, calm down. Calm down what? I've lived for so long anyway. Even if the murder clown wants to kill me, I don't care. I want to donate blood. At another location, a man tried to persuade her. Honey, calm down. Don't pay any attention to the murder clown. It's a terrifying monster. His wife's eyes reddened, saying, bullshit. This Max is too despicable. He's ruined so many families. I don't care. I want to pay a drop of blood. Saying so, she gave a drop of blood. Thinking about it, she still wasn't willing. Looking at the line of text in the air, she asked, I want to give a bit more, can I? The text changed into a new line. Of course, you can give as much as you want. I'll give 10 more drops. The Fushi Royal Palace. Your Majesty, this seems a bit dangerous. An official tried to persuade her. It's fine, I know the murder clown. This is a very interesting thing. Let me try. I'll give 20 drops of blood. I want Max to die. Monarch Verona acted like she just found a new toy and said that. The Holy Empire. The Mafia's casino. A man who looked like Boss spoke. So if it's Max, perfect. We still haven't gotten our revenge for last time. Let's all donate blood. Boss, aren't you afraid this might be a trap? One of his subordinates asked. The world has already become like this. What's there to be afraid of? Not to mention, although the murder clown is scary, it hasn't done anything to civilians. You have to be careful of that. Saying so, the mafia boss gave a drop of blood. You can all donate as well? Yes. Those who knew Max, those who didn't, all made their decision at this moment. Not to mention, there were quite a few people in the slums who hated Max to the bone. Quite a few people chose to donate blood on the spot. The red number quickly increased. In just 20 seconds, 1 million drops of blood had been gathered. And this was only the beginning. People noticed that giving a drop of blood didn't affect them at all. More bystanders began to get involved in the matter. The number of blood kept increasing. 3 minutes quickly passed. Time was up. 1 million drops of blood was gathered in 20 seconds. 3 minutes, 89 million drops of blood. What a touching scene. Everyone is so passionate about the death of others. The murder clown sighed. Mr. Max, you've received an astonishing amount of support and won the punishment of being split into two. Please enjoy yourself. I won't disturb you any longer. Saying so, the murder clown disappeared into the darkness. Only Max was left at the scene. The ropes around his arms, ankles, and head were quickly pulled taut. A second later, an irresistible force came from the ropes, causing everyone who was watching to feel their hearts tighten. AR, Max screamed in agony. It takes a lot of effort to chop off a person's head and limbs, let alone slowly pulling them apart. It's easy to imagine how much pain the person is going through. It took a total of 10 seconds. Swoosh. Blood gushed out like a fountain. The 5 ropes took Max's arms, legs, and head into the darkness. Only Max's body was left. This body had no head, no hands, no legs. It was Max who was split into two. Only his torso remained. The first trial is over, the prayers trial machine reported. The trial cost 1 million prayers. The remaining prayers is an auspicious number, 88 million. Due to the excess prayers, this machine will be used to solve Max's remaining problems. All of his assets will be converted into credits and distributed to those who have been harmed by him according to the degree of harm they have suffered. This trial is over. Please look forward to the next one. All the screens automatically shut down. The entire planet's projection equipment returned to normal. The trial was over. The boy stood in front of the trial machine. Is Max really dead? He asked. Yes, he's already reported to hell. The prayers trial machine answered. Is that true? It's not just a dream, is it? The boy asked in disbelief. Of course it's not a dream. I've converted a sum of credits and deposited it into the Holy Empire Bank under your and your mother's names. The password is 88s. Next, please turn around and face behind you. The boy turned around as told. His mother was standing behind him, wiping away her tears while looking at him gently. Mom. Chapter 436. After the trial was over, the entire planet went crazy. Prayers trial machines were found all over the world. It split up very quickly. In every city, every place with people, such a machine would appear. The news all over the world began to report it. Scientists, governments all over the world began to pay attention. Everyone tried to communicate with this strange thing. Facing the first trial, the first person to react was a prisoner. At the time, the entire prison was on a walk. The prisoners were circling around the field, slowly walking around. Suddenly, a loud explosion was heard. Outside the barbed wire fence, a prayers trial machine appeared. Everyone was startled. The prisoner looked at the prayers trial machine, then suddenly ran towards the fence. He grabbed the wire and tried to reach his hand out. "I can reach it." The prisoner didn't know how to use it, so he only used his hand to hit the prayers trial machine. The prayers trial machine immediately let out a rumbling voice. "Esteemed customer, please state the sinner you wish to judge, as well as his identity." "Bird, police chief," the prisoner quickly answered. This time was different from the first. As the presiding judge, the murder clown had already received his payment and left. Instead, a faint figure of Tianho appeared. The Tianho figure appeared above the prayers trial machine. The prayers trial machine rumbled and replied, "Currently determining if police chief board is a criminal." On each side of the Tianho, a heart that gave off a milky white light and a heart that gave off a black light appeared. As soon as the two hearts were placed on the tray, the white heart rose up high, while the black heart sank all the way down. "Unforgivable sinner meets the conditions for trial," the prayers trial machine answered. "Then let's begin," the prisoner hurriedly shouted. From afar, two prison guards were running towards him. "Please pay blood. You want my blood?" The prisoner was surprised. "Only blood can be exchanged for a blood ending." "Please pay blood," the prayers trial machine answered. "How much?" The prisoner gritted his teeth. 200 milliliters, take it quickly." As soon as the prisoner said so, he was caught by the two prison guards and dragged back. The prisoner held onto the barbed wire with one hand, while the other was still on the prayers trial machine. The two prison guards used all their strength to drag the prisoner back. The prison guards pressed him to the ground, beating him with all their might. "Is the deal done?" The prisoner screamed in pain, but his eyes never left the prayers trial machine. "Rumble." The prayers trial machine spoke with a solemn voice. "Blood has been received, begin trial." Its voice resounded in the hearts of all humans. "Human, when you chant the prayers trial machine, you'll be able to see this trial in your mind. Chief Bird, the crimes of his life are beginning to unfold." Scenes of bribery, false testimony, framing, private transactions, and sheltering drug dealers were all displayed in front of everyone. "Look, look!" The prisoner on the ground cried and shouted. The current scene was exactly the scene where Bird stuffed a bag of drugs into his pocket and then arrested him. In the next scene, police chief Board received someone else's reward, a detached villa and a large amount of credits. The two prison guards were stunned and stopped. Board's evil deeds were exposed in front of everyone. The prayers trial machine's voice came, wearing the cloak of righteousness, yet sheltering evil, bringing pain and suffering to so many innocent people. Mr. Board's crimes will be increased. Within 3 minutes, when the red number reaches 10,000, Mr. Board will be nailed to the pillar of shame, enjoying the scorching heat of the flames. Board was wearing the uniform of the Empire's police chief, appearing in everyone's mind. Board shouted, "This is a demon. He's deceiving you. I'm innocent. Someone save me. A god." He was nailed to a pillar. A red number was projected from his chest. Below the red number was a stopwatch that didn't move. "Now let the countdown begin." The stopwatch began to move. In reality, a notification appeared in front of everyone. "Are you willing to use blood to decide police chief Board's death?" Almost immediately, the red number reached 10,000. 3 minutes later, the red number reached 20 million. Obviously, everyone understood what this meant. After going through so many strange things, everyone had a certain level of immunity towards these strange things. In the hearts of the people, they were more resentful of the evil. "Mr. Board, you've received an astonishing amount of support and won the flame punishment." The prayers trial machine's voice rumbled. The pillar suddenly erupted in flames. Board screamed in pain. His body trembled violently, but his hands and feet were firmly fixed in place, and he couldn't move at all. The extreme heat of the flames caused him to slowly stop struggling. His sinful life was over. The second trial is now concluded. The automatic prayers trial machine spoke. The remaining prayers will be converted into credits for Mr. Board's personal assets to compensate the victims. This vending machine does not accept change. No refunds. Minors are advised to watch with an adult. This trial is over. Please look forward to the next one. The image disappeared. Ah ha ha! I've got my revenge. I've got my revenge. The prisoner laid on the ground, crying. The shackles on his hands suddenly loosened. The prison uniform was gone. A brand new set of clothes was now on his body, with a faint hint of cologne. He looked like he was in high spirits. The prisoner looked at himself, a bit in disbelief. Suddenly, a piece of paper jumped out from his pocket, landing in front of the guards. Proof of acquittal. One of the guards read it out loud. Is this real? The warden also came and loudly asked. One of the guards took out a scanner and scanned the proof of acquittal. Beep. This is the latest trial result. It has been successfully verified. All the prison guards sucked in a cold breath. The warden's communicator suddenly rang. He took the call and kept replying, yes, after hanging up. The warden looked at the prisoner who had changed completely. Let him go, he explained to the guards. Impartial goddess has approved of this, as has Her Majesty the Empress. From this moment onwards, every minute, every second, as long as someone chanted the prayers trial machine, they would be able to watch the trial. The trial didn't stop for even a moment. There was too much injustice in the human world, as well as too much evil. And now, everything had finally been settled. Countless people from all over the world rushed towards it. Everyone wanted to be the first to get their revenge. Very quickly, everyone realized something. It was impossible to stop anyone from using the prayers trial machine, because the prayers trial machine would always have a way to appear next to the victims. There was also a widely accepted question about this machine. A large one was written on the outside of the prayers trial machine. Then, is there a two machine? Humanity didn't have to wonder for too long. The answer came very quickly. On the empty field outside the mountaintop mansion, 3 large video game machines appeared in front of Gu Qingshan's group. Next to the Black Prayers trial machine was a claw machine. This machine was painted blue with a 12 on the side. Greetings, brave young ones. I am the Sea of Suffering machine to save living beings. The claw machine greeted them. The other was also a black vending machine with a 23 on the side. If you want to vent your anger, you don't need to do anything bad. Just come to me. I am the anger calming machine. The machine loudly shouted. A red self-service camera machine with a 47 on the side. I am the sinner repent machine. The machine looked at Gu Qingshan and slightly bowed. Although you've killed quite a few people, you have no use for me. Dear, they were constantly splitting into new machines. The new machines quickly disappeared from where they stood. From the looks of it, they were heading to different parts of the world. The prayers trial machine cleared its throat and spoke. Let me introduce you first. After it finished introducing the 3 machines, Gu Qingshan's group was completely stunned. Everything they make is like this. Are the divinities of Huang Quan that bored? Gu Qingshan mused. Our Huang Quan has always been orderly. When they have free time, the divinities also need to have some fun, the Sea of Suffering machine explained. Chapter 437. What are these machines for? Everyone in the world was curious. After the game of Eternal and the Murder Clown, the governments of the world had become more cautious of these strange things. At first, the governments forbade their citizens from getting close to these machines. But these machines could teleport, appearing here and there in one moment, impossible to guard against. But a few brave professionists and citizens quickly became familiar with these 4 machines. Information about the functions and usage of these 4 machines quickly spread across the entire planet. In the end, even a few government agencies began to use these machines. The governments of the world could only turn a blind eye. The Federation, a large city. 7 to 8 police officers surrounded the Misery Sea machine, nervously watching a police officer operate it. The police officer's forehead was covered in sweat. He was staring at this claw machine with a serious expression. Carefully controlling the joystick, he aimed the claw at a doll. This is it. He abruptly pressed the button. The claw went down and caught the doll. But halfway up, the doll fell off the claw. What the hell? It failed. The police officer's hearts sank again. It still didn't work? A voice called out. The police officers turned around, straightened their backs, and shouted, "Boss!" "Hello, boss." A fat policeman in uniform strode over and nodded slightly at the crowd. He pulled out a small, thin young man from behind him. The young man's face was pale, his body was thin, wearing an oversized sweater that didn't fit him at all. This was the best he had. The fat police officer said, "I've hired an expert claw machine. We'll definitely succeed this time." "That's great." Hearing that, the police officers were ecstatic. Very quickly, the young man stood in front of the claw machine and placed his hand on a black contact area. The claw machine lit up and the game's music began to play again. "You can activate it once with 1 drop of blood." The young man looked at the fat police officer. The police officer said, "For 1 drop of blood, I'll reimburse you 1,000 credits." The young man nodded. He received the card from the police officer and read, "Wang Mingkai, 16 years old, female." A flash of light scanned through all the dolls in the claw machine. "It's ready. Have fun," the claw machine spoke. The young man grabbed the controller and quickly scanned all the dolls. He was looking for a good doll to hold. He was an expert at catching dolls and had almost reached the level of being undefeatable. Their family used to run a large amusement park, but when the man-eater fiends descended, the entire amusement park was destroyed. His parents were eaten, but he survived and has been homeless ever since. The apocalypse had destroyed the young man's happy home, and now he could only wander the streets. The youth controlled the claw and chose a suitable target from among the many dolls. He grew up playing this. Finally, the youth chose a doll. "Pa!" The youth pressed the button. Accompanied by special music, the claws suddenly fell. The doll was caught. What followed was the most crucial moment. The pair of pliers slowly pulled back the doll. It was usually at this stage that one failed to catch a doll. Many of the claws were very loose and could not hold onto the doll at all. The police officer had also failed at this stage. However, for some reason, the doll that the youth was holding did not fall and was firmly held by the pliers. The gripper kept moving back. Finally, the doll fell out of the exit. "Yay!" the police officers cheered. The claw machine asked, "Congratulations, you can now see Wang Mingkai. Do you want to see her?" The youth looked at the fat police officer. The fat police officer nodded. "I do," the youth replied. "Very well, it is being carried out," the claw machine replied. A few moments later, a pitiful-looking girl appeared in front of the claw machine. Seeing the people in front of her, the girl was clearly shocked. There was blood on her face, her body was tied up with ropes, unable to move at all. "Daughter!" 2 middle-aged men and women rushed forward and hugged the girl. "Daddy? Mommy?" "Wah!" The girl started to cry. The police officers took out their tools and began to untie the girl. The fat police officer took out his communicator and quickly ordered, "The hostage has been rescued. Mobile mech special forces attack the criminal's base." He quickly took care of all the affairs. The youth stood up and looked at the fat police officer. "Can I pay now?" The fat police officer showed a flattering smile. It couldn't be helped. Catching dolls was too hard. I still have a few wanted criminals here. Can you help me out?" He took out a few wanted posters and gave them to the youth. The youth received them, looked through them one by one, and said, "No problem. But the money, of course I'll pay," the fat police officer said. He suddenly had a thought. "Wait a minute. Are you willing to become a police officer?" he asked. Now that they have the Bitter Sea rescue machine, people can just catch dolls whenever they want. Once they catch them, they'll be able to make them appear. Of course, the motive of catching dolls must be righteous, otherwise the claw machine won't respond. This way, catching wanted criminals is a piece of cake. As long as you're good at catching dolls, you'll be able to catch whoever you want. That's why the Bitter Sea rescue machine is the police's best helper. The youth's eyes lit up and hurriedly asked, "You're saying I can become a police officer?" "That's right. With your ability to catch dolls, I'll allow you to join the police station." Are you willing? I am. Now, help me capture these notorious fellows. Got it, the youth loudly answered. Of the 4 Huang Quan machines, the one with the least activity was machine number 23. It was a black vending machine, and its name was Calming Vending Machine. The so-called anger and anger elimination machine is when the machine replaces you, pulling someone's ear, pinching their nose, blindfolding their eyes, scratching their feet, kicking but etc. This isn't evil at all. At most, it's a prank, almost 100 different kinds of pranks. This will allow the user to vent a bit. If you're not satisfied with this level of venting, the anger and anger elimination machine will secretly tell you that it's actually very powerful, but the prayers trial machine is its wife. So it can't do anything. It can't do anything evil and can only endure the humiliation. When you spend a drop of blood, you can activate this machine, and it will do some things for you that are within the scope of tickling. But ever since the apocalypse, countless people have lost their lives to the sea monsters, man-eater fiends, and man-killer fiends. And now 3 hells have appeared at the same time. Who would use this thing to prank others? That night, the situation changed. The anger and anger elimination machine welcomed its first customer. The first customer was a 17 to 18 years old young man. He used a drop of blood to activate the machine. Ding dong. The anger and anger elimination machine let out a clear chime. It lowered its voice and asked, "Do you want to secretly do something bad? Use this machine to buy the number of pranks you want. The prayers trial machine definitely won't notice. I want to do something bad," the young man coldly replied. "Then, what do you want to do?" the machine asked. "Using a feather to scratch my feet, using a large shoe to kick my butt. Give me one of each," the young man said without changing his expression. "Thank you. 20 drops of blood." The young man put his hand on the black part of the machine. "Very well. I've received your payment. May I ask who you want to use it on?" the machine asked. "Can I use a pen name?" "Yes," the young man told a name. The machine answered, "Currently scratching his feet. I guarantee he'll wish he was dead." A few moments later, the machine spoke again. "Currently kicking his, but I guarantee he'll know there's someone who deeply hates him." "Your evil actions have ended. If you want to do evil again, please wait for 24 hours. The young man nodded, showing an expression of relief as if he had gotten his revenge. He muttered, "Let's see if you dare to stop updating again." After the teenager left contentedly, the second customer followed closely behind. Very quickly, the second customer also left with an expression of victory. His ramblings drifted through the air, turning into a single sentence. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.